Punching Up, a Nintendo podcast, is brought to you by you. If you want to learn how to support our show, go to patreon.com/laststandmedia. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 95 of Punching Up, Last Stand Media's weekly Nintendo podcast. I'm your host, as always, Brad Ellison. Joining me, I have my lovely co-host, Mrs. Micah Moriarty. Micah, with the Christmas sweater, getting festive. I like it. How are you?
Oh, thank you. I wanted to wear a Santa hat, but I'm just overheated. I did a workout before this, and I was gonna pop on the Santa hat. And I was like, I feel like I'm gonna die. So like the sweater was already pushing it.
Yeah, I respect it. You know, fashion is pain, beauty is pain, as they say, right?
Beauty is
you gotta look good. You gotta bake. Yeah. Wait, are you doing? I forgot. You do elliptical for workouts?
No, that's Colin. I have been doing Pure Bar classes. Wait, yeah, I also have an exercise bike. Today I just did an arm only workout. I hurt my knee, so I'm trying to be better about not using my knees like every fucking day. So today was just arms only. There's this great lady on YouTube, Caroline Gervin, who posts like just easy to follow workouts. So, you know, it's like I want to do something active every day, but not fuck up my knee.
Yeah, understandable. I mean, it's good that you're just exercising, period.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying.
So, you guys don't go to the gym, which is totally fine. You guys make it work at home. I could not do it, though. Working out at home, kill myself. I'd get so distracted.
It's the only way that I would even be able to do it, you know.
The gym is so intimidating, firstly, because I discovered Pure Bar because my cousin's ex-wife owns a Pure Bar studio. I heard about it from them. I tried it out in person and I liked the classes, but doing them online is so much cheaper.
Sure.
And like I can take the classes 5 days a week for $10 a month versus 4 classes a month for $80.
Yeah.
It's fucking nuts, dude. So I was like, I'll just do them at home and just be able to work out like as much as I fucking want. It's definitely the in-person aspect. There's the slight like friendly competition that pushes you a little bit. Sure. You also get like the teachers there to kind of correct you, which is helpful. But I don't know. You take enough of the classes, you figure it out.
Sure.
Like,
yeah. Totally. I mean, different things work for different people. As long as you're doing it.
Oh, yeah.
And at least properly to an extent. Doesn't matter.
So sometimes I will like skip a section of the workout because I'm like, I can't figure out what she's doing. I don't want to hurt myself. So we skip ahead 30 seconds to when I'm like, all right, now you're doing something normal.
Yeah. I mean, there's exercises I don't want to do it at all. Like deadlifts. I know people love doing that shit, but I'm always afraid I'm going to hurt my back doing it or something. Because I've never been like taught proper form with it. So I'm always like, nah, I'll skip that. I'll work out my hamstrings and glutes a different way. So I'm good on that. Also joining us for the first time, I think, on the show ever, Colin Moriarty. Colin, humongous Nintendo fan, well known.
Back in the day, I was probably a bigger Nintendo fan than all of you combined.
But I'm sure you were.
But not these days.
No, I'm sure. Dude, I wouldn't doubt it. From I know your history as a kid, yeah, you were an Omega goober.
Oh my God.
For sure with Nintendo.
I was like hating on Sega kids like when I was in like 3rd grade.
But as you should have, though.
Yeah, that's good shit.
Yeah, I'd be like, oh my God, when Sonic came out in 91 or whatever, and Genesis really, you know, Genesis came out in 89 technically, but no one really cared. It was when Sonic came out in 91 and then they kind of relaunched it. And I remember, you know, my neighbor got it. My neighbor had a Master System too. So they were like, but their older brother had an NES and SNES. There were 3 brothers. Each of them had a console in their room. The little, like my friend had the Master System. His older brother had the Genesis, and then the oldest brother had the NES. So I was making fun of Sega kids for time immemorial, basically. And
God bless.
Like playing, it's like, oh, let's play Vector Man. I'm like, okay. If we have to play Vector Man, that's fine, I guess. Yeah. There was a few good things on there though. Yeah. Castlevania Bloodlines.
Yeah, there's some good games on there for sure.
Phantasy Star, of course.
Streets of Rage,
Beyond Oasis.
Mm-hmm.
Genesis was fine, but I bled Nintendo, so it's good to be here to reminisce
Yeah.
About a brand that was once so dominant in my life.
Yeah. It's interesting, Colin. Growing up, I had both. I had a Genesis and Super Nintendo.
Nice.
I don't remember which one I got first. I was one of those lucky kids. And I remember there was a lot of fun stuff on Sega, but it's like, come on.
Super it was such a fucking ridiculous choice to me. But they did get better ports of a lot of games.
Mm-hmm.
Like the fighting, well, not the fighting games. Mortal Kombat was bloody on Genesis and it wasn't on SNES. They had that 3-button setup though that they always.
Dude,
this was like
dog shit.
It was awful.
I had Street Fighter 2 on Genesis. It was dog shit.
You had to hit the start button.
Yes.
So for people that don't know, that the Genesis had 3 face buttons, but you need 6 buttons to play. You need like a light, medium, fierce punch, light, medium, fierce kick in Street Fighter. So on SNES that was fine because you had 4 face buttons and the triggers.
Yep.
But on the standard stock Genesis controller, you only had 3 face buttons. So to play Street Fighter, you had to hit start to switch between kicks and punches.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that? Absolutely insane. And there were probably savant level players on that thing that like did it. Yeah, no problem. But I couldn't even imagine. And it reminds me of like the touchpad or like the back touch on Vita, where it's like they eventually came out with different Genesis controllers that were much better, but they always had to adapt to that one controller because they didn't know who was going to have the new one and who wasn't.
Yeah.
So trash.
Now I know you're a big Dreamcast guy, Colin. Did you have a Saturn?
No, I didn't have a Saturn.
Okay.
My brother, Dagan, you guys know, lived with a guy named Ducky in Philadelphia for a long time.
Great name.
And he was a huge nerd, and he had a Saturn. So that would my and then Dagan's best friend PJ had a Saturn. So
PJ, yeah.
In fact, I think PJ might have even had a Japanese Saturn as well, because he had a Japanese Dreamcast as well later on. So I played Dreamcast and PS2. He was a huge nerd. I mean, he is a huge nerd. He always had access to shit like the Japanese stuff.
Cool.
He would go into and just import it, which is how I fell in love with the Dreamcast before it even came out, where I knew I wanted it because I was like, oh, this is fucking incredible. No, the Saturn is like probably the mainline console that I have the least amount of experience with, but still played a few things on it here and there when I go visit Dagan and go to PJ's house or whatever. But the Saturn wasn't out for very long.
No,
relevant. It had about a year and a half in between. Like when Genesis truly went away and then when PS1 started eating its lunch. And there are so many interesting ports on there. Like I think Mega Man X4 is on Saturn.
Yep.
Symphony of the Night's on Saturn.
Resident Evil's on there.
Resident Evil. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. But
yeah, the Symphony of the Night one has an extra area too on there. It's like a garden zone or something.
Oh, I don't think I knew
But
that.
It runs awful. It runs like really bad. So huge trade-off. I was really hoping we would get that zone in like the remastered collection we got or something. But nah, we didn't get it, sadly.
Yeah, I've never played the Saturn version. So But yeah, the Genesis was like definitely. I got a Genesis later. I bought it on eBay, I think in '98 or something like that.
Okay.
I think I paid literally $20 or something.
I was gonna say you probably got it for cheap.
And then I started collecting Genesis games and stuff on eBay.
Like the boxes, good boxes. Like
well,
the
that's
actual
the
box.
thing. That was the difference, right? Like the SN. Dagan and I lament this all the time, and I don't know if you were the same. It wasn't until N64 that I started keeping the boxes.
Dude, it wasn't
Nintendo games.
It wasn't until like GameCube I started keeping boxes for Nintendo games.
Like they were just disposable for some reason. But I don't know why I looked at them like that. But they really were just you kept the instruction manual,
cheap cardboard box or whatever.
Right. Like what we used to do is take the black case that the NES games would slide into, and then we would just pop that in, and then we put the instruction manual in that case, and then everything else would be thrown away.
Oh yeah. Most kids did that, dude.
It's too bad, man. But the Genesis, that's what I was saying. You didn't throw the Genesis boxes away.
No, because they were nice.
Right.
Yeah. Nice boxes, dude. Shout out to Sega for that. But yeah, on this episode, we're going to kind of go down through a lot of Nintendo games. We're going to get some of Colin's history and all that kind of stuff. I know, Micah, I think, I know you played the N64 growing up at like a friend's house or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll get into that. But I know you missed kind of the boat originally on NES and like Super Nintendo, but you've played some of these games, I think. So fear not, you will hear from Micah. I will make sure, damn it. I don't want Micah just sitting there doing nothing.
Sweet summer child.
I'll interject every now and then, a little.
Just be like, no.
Just throw something in. Exactly.
No, it's not good. No.
Colin,
yeah,
no. Bradley,
yeah.
just.
That's what always happens, dude. But hey, if you want to support us, go to patreon.com/laststandmedia. You can get early ad-free access to all of our shows and perks like Sacred Symbols Plus. We could not do without you guys over there, so thank you very much. We appreciate the support. And if you want some merch, laststandmedia.store, sent to you straight from the Moriarty house. Colin and Micah, specifically Micah, will send it to your door. I think this episode is going up on, I want to say, the 23rd.
Wow. 20 days from now.
I think so, yeah, because we have, I think 16th the
Look
last.
at you being so, like, you're planning and getting things done quickly.
Dude, I got to, man. Time's running out. That Goaty episode's going to be a brick, so we got to make sure we get that all scheduled and everything. I was going
to say, I'm sorry, I'm going to be bricked up on it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you're going to be bricked up. Absolutely. It's going to be a good time. I'm really looking forward to it. That's always a really fun episode. But a long one. I don't know if we'll beat The Last of Us Part 2 discussion with you and Dagan. But
I still can't believe we actually did that. Like,
I know, I can't
either.
32 pages of notes. I just threw them out like a few weeks ago. I mean, I have the the digital document, but it's like, I was basically studying the game in a way that I don't study most games.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, man, you're passionate about it. A lot to say. I get it. And Dagan can go on for a long time.
Oh yeah,
and
Dagan
I mean
can
that
pontificate
in the nicest way possible.
No, he can. He can go on and on and on and on. But that's why he's a good. He's missed.
Yep, he is. Love that guy.
He's doing his thing now.
Shout out Dagan.
He grew up.
Yeah, he grew up finally. All right, let's start with the Nintendo Entertainment System, the thing that started it all. For me specifically, Colin, did you play games really at all before this?
No, I probably did play Atari games when I was very young, but I don't remember.
Okay.
I experienced, one of my top 25 games of all time is River Raid. I love that game. That's an Atari game. But that was stuff that, I would go into the attic and like take it out and like plug it, like wanted to experience it. So at the time, but it's funny. My mom always talks about how she was even playing a lot of Atari. I think it's because adults could just understand it. It's one button and a joystick. Yeah. But yeah, so before that, we had a console in my house, an Atari 2600, but I wasn't probably messing with it too much. And why would you want to play that garbage by the time you play the game?
I mean,
it's
trash.
No offense, but like the Atari 2600 sucks. I mean, it
I have zero interest.
It was really cool, and it is cool, and there are a few interesting games on there, but it is a very primitive. Yeah. Like the NES made it look like nothing. There has been people talk about generational leaps. That's a fucking generational leap.
Yeah, that sure is. Looks like fucking caveman drawings on a wall drawn with poo or something. Just
like if you look at Adventure, which is probably like one of the best games on Atari, it's like nonsense.
Yeah, just use your imagination. For all those games, you really have to a lot. But the NES was originally the Famicom in Japan, which was released on July 15th, 1983. Then we got the Nintendo Entertainment System on October 18th, 1985. Quite a gap. And test markets nationwide, though, on September 27th, 1986. New York City was a test market, so pretty close to you, Colin.
Yep.
So I wonder if Dagan probably got one pretty early, right?
Yeah, I actually was going to say like one of my earliest memories, and it's very undefined, but my brother and my dad have both confirmed that this did happen, is that at some point in 1987, probably he got it, maybe. It might even been Christmas 86, but this would have been a very early memory for me. I mean, I would have been like 2, but I would have been 3 the next year. My dad drove this Mazda truck, that like, it wasn't a bad smell. It just had a very distinct smell. Like I can still I don't know what it was. It was probably like something my dad was like eating or something, or like whatever it was, and I remember us at night. It was like, I felt like it was around Christmas. My dad, me and Dagan going to get the NES. Ooh. And apparently and I think what was it might have been 86, but maybe it was even as late as 87 I think that they were going to get it for his birthday or for Christmas or something like that. But they might not have been so open about it being for Christmas if I was so young. So yeah, I have this like very vague memory of going and getting it.
Damn.
And I think Dagan has a much more solidified memory of it. And yeah, so I basically was weaned on this thing. I mean, by the time I was 3, for sure, we had an NES.
Do you remember like which set he got of it? It looks like it came in multiple like SKUs when it launched, like bundles. There's like the control deck, just the normal one.
Oh yeah, the control. We have the box for it actually still. So
okay, there's the deluxe set with Rob the Robot. It looks like.
Oh no, we didn't get that. We didn't even have the one we had. We didn't even have the Zapper.
Oh, okay.
We had like Mario, because there were 3 bundle-in cartridges. You had like Mario, Duck Hunt, Track and Field, I think, right? And then you had Mario and Duck Hunt, which was the very popular one. And then you had just Mario. And I'm pretty sure there might just be Duck Hunt cartridges, but I might be making that up. I think that's true.
Yeah,
though.
I'm not sure about that. So,
actually. But you had to go buy it. Like I think Duck Hunt. Let me see, Duck Hunt cartridge. Maybe not. Yeah, maybe there wasn't. But yeah. Anyway, we had Mario 1, so just like alone.
Yeah.
And,
okay.
Oh no, there is a Duck Hunt cartridge. Yeah, I remember because I remember the box art because it's like actually probably the coolest. But I'll send it to you guys in the chat. It's probably the coolest NES box art in like the Hybroxia style that we did. It's certainly
that's really okay. I've seen this. Yeah, this is cool box art. I do like this.
So that's neat. But anyway, yeah. So we had an NES very early, and it was a completely seminal.
Yeah.
Presence in my life. I was obsessed with it.
Groundbreaking. Yeah, I know we had the action set, which came with the Mario Duck Hunt and the Zapper bundle.
Legendary we never had the Zapper. Many other people had the Zapper, and you'd mess with it. Duck Hunt kind of sucks. I mean, like it's cool for a little while, and I love the character designs and shit. Like, and I love that they're in the dog Smash. Is in Smash, right? Which is super cool.
The dog and the duck.
And the dog, which is super cool.
Yeah, awesome character.
It's a neat game. It's just like I remember just being like, why don't you just cheat and like stand up next to the TV and
yeah, of course, hold it to the screen.
Yeah, it was, and then they had like the clay shooting, mode in it, which was probably really just a reskin. But everyone had that. I didn't have a light gun until we got the Super Scope.
Dude,
and I did get that for Christmas.
Holy shit! And
I've said before, I just used the Super Scope as a toy outside.
Yeah, man.
We had like one game for it, and then it was so cool. It was a fucking shoulder-mounted missile launcher, basically, when you're a little kid.
Oh, yeah. Dude,
I was like, oh my God, I'm going to go fight the Russians in the woods. I'll see you later.
The Russians, dude. Man, that's so funny. The prices on this shit's crazy. I mean, it was $19.89 with the action set, but $149.
Oh, yeah, they were
good shit.
They were probably making a nice profit on that anyway, but because like you said, the Famicom is ancient. Everything's predicated on the Famicom. And what's frustrating is that they could have done more with the NES than they did in the States. They just chose, there's all sorts of shit, not all sorts of shit, but like expansion suggestions. And if you look at the box, especially not the top loader, but the original version of it, and look around, there's like shit on there, like the AV ports and stuff. Like there's all sorts of stuff that they never used. But there was like a fucking modem on the Famicom. You could like plug it into the internet. In 1988.
Yeah, I think the Super
and get like
Nintendo
weather
had that
and
as well.
shit, like or like stock tips and shit. It was like so weird.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So even though it was underpowered, it was still a really awesome machine. And Brad, it's like look at Mario 1 or like an even uglier game from that time, like I don't know, or something more static like Metroid, and then look at Mega Man 6.
Yeah,
it's like
night and day.
They figured it out.
Yeah, I mean, even just look at Mario 1 and then 3. It's like crazy.
Definitely. Or Castlevania 3. Like there are late games that are like, damn, dude.
Yeah. Late NES games are very impressive. Before we get into some of the games, stuff like this, Micah, have you had any experience with the actual hardware of original NES?
No, because even like when the Classic came out, like I was only able to get an SNES Classic.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't able to get the NES Classic. So no, I've never... I don't know Colin, when we went to that, remember we went to that guy's house that had died and he had all those consoles. What was in the mix of that?
He had like a few NES things. I have one of them because he had a complete version of Zelda, which I already have, but I'm like, I'm keeping this.
Ooh, hell yeah.
And the biggest thing he had were the Zelda games on CDI, which are really, really expensive.
Oh, God.
Those are really valuable games. So they're still somewhere. I might have even put them in the attic or something, but he had mostly PS2, some GameCube, some Xbox, and then some Xbox 360 or whatever. So it was like, and there was some really valuable shit in there, but most of it was not worth anything. I traded all of it away, as you know. for
Gotcha.
GI.
Oh yeah, we shipped it all. That was the UPS store was like, you want us to what?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, dude. By the way, I want you to ship this. You're the store that ships things.
Yeah.
Like that. I always say, I read recently, and I know you feel this way too, Micah. It's like, you don't want to kind of piss the post office off. Actually, It was the, my friend Phil Summers just did his Mega Man strategy guide, which is fucking amazing. And the digital version's already out, but they're finally shipping the physical version. And they were saying the same thing in their little email on Kickstarter, where it was like, we don't want to piss the post office off, so we can't drop these off too much. And I'm like, part of me is like, too fucking bad. Like, I'm paying you. Isn't this what you want? Don't you want? I mean, I know you personally don't care about how the post office does if you work there, but it's like, you should want it's business.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just wanted to
well, it's like, I don't know,
out about that for a minute.
Go to a different post office. Hit multiple post offices up.
Micah does that sometimes, I think.
Figure it out.
No, I do. So a little peek behind the curtain. When I process orders, what I can do is put all the orders onto one barcode called a scan form.
Mm-hmm.
However, if I do that, they do need to all be dropped off in one place. The trick when I do separate it is that international packages are always their own barcode. So I will do a batch of domestic packages, a batch of international, and I will drop them off at two separate places. So the post office isn't like getting 100 packages, but there's always fewer international packages. So at a certain point, I run out of those. And then it's like, well, I am back to just like, I can't drop them off in two different places because then the scan form will be wrong, essentially. Yeah. But you strategize, because actually there was a local like controversy because the post office had beef with this apartment owner, and they were refusing, like a landlord, they were refusing to deliver mail to her apartment building. Oh, and it was causing all these problems because they just didn't like her. And so it's like, I don't want them fucking throwing these out.
Yeah. It's crazy. Insane.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I didn't mean to like.
No, you good.
To sidetrack, but isn't that annoying? It's like too much.
It's business. Super annoying.
Sorry, we business is too good.
Yeah, it's like, I get it. It's a lot of work, but it's not like you're getting that all the time, like constantly. I assume.
Well, it'd be like working at a restaurant.
Don't work at a fucking post office then.
Right. Well, right. It's like working. It would be like working at a restaurant and you're slammed. It's like if you
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
We're keeping you afloat.
Yeah. All right, Colin, let's go over some of the launch games really quick, or all of them really quick, because I don't remember a lot of these. 10-yard flight, baseball, Clue Land, duck hunt, Excite Bike, of course, golf, Gyromite. This came with Rob. Hogan's Alley, Ice Climber, your beloved Ice Climbers from Smash.
Dude, you know how I love the Ice Climbers.
Yeah, you do.
I love those characters. I love how they. My favorite thing is that like you can lose one of them.
Yeah.
And then they just become like totally useless.
It's such like, a cool mechanic. It's really rad. Really neat. Kung Fu, pinball, stack up, Super Mario Brothers, tennis, Wild Gunman, and Wrecking Crew. What do you think stands out here besides, of course, Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt?
Probably so we owned 3 of these. We owned Excite Bike, which was a big game for us.
Yeah, really fun.
We owned Ice Climber and we owned Kung Fu, in addition to Mario, of course.
Okay. Gotcha.
And Kung Fu is another one. That's an IREM game. And I actually wrote a strategy guide for it on that's actually one of my game facts. It's like, it's a totally not unnecessary. Just
for Kung Fu. Yeah.
Kung Fu is one of those games. You can be Kung Fu in literally probably 12 to 15 minutes or whatever, if you're good at it, but you can play it over and over again. Mm-hmm. And one of the things we used to try to do is you can actually flip the score in. So that's a very nerdy thing.
Yeah.
Scores used to be like this finite, almost like think of like pinball machines of like on these radials of 0 through 9. And even when they were translated to these early digital games, some of them would either freeze or just go back to 0 because they didn't know what to do when it went up to the next integer. So that's called flipping the score. And we used to try to do that on Kung Fu because you could actually do that. So that's that Kung Fu game is incredibly random, but very memorable. Excite Bike. Did you play Excite Bike?
Hell yeah.
All right.
So I loved Excite Bike.
Did you also have the problem where like there were just certain functionality, it just didn't work? Like the stuff where you would make your own tracks and like load things off of it. Like for us anyway, it was like a big thing with us where like we couldn't get Excitebike to work, or it seemed like it couldn't. You could play it by yourself and play the tracks and mess around, but like there were certain things on it which just wouldn't work.
I can't remember. I mean, I remember playing a lot and making tracks, but I was probably too young and too stupid to realize if something wasn't working or something like that. I don't know.
And then Ice Climber is a very I actually have very nostalgic memories of playing Ice Climber. My grandparents lived in Albertson on Long Island. It's just this very small 1 mile by 1 mile town near New York City. It's where my mom grew up, and my dad grew up nearby too. He wasn't affluent enough to live in Albertson. And they had a neighbor, the Hirsches, this really nice Jewish family who had a son, Michael, and he was maybe 2 or 3 years older than me. He was like in between me and Dagan. Okay. He was much closer to my age than Dagan. And he had this like Finnish, they had, when you walked into their house, they had like a huge aquarium. Very, very memorable thing.
Yeah.
And they had a finished basement. And he used to invite us over when we would be at my grandparents every Sunday for dinner. And we would go play games with them. And he's actually the person who introduced me to Mega Man. He had Mega Man 1.
Oh, okay.
This was before Mega Man 2. And he had a bunch of shit. I mean, he had like everything. But Ice Climbers is a game that like we always played for some reason. And
okay.
I love that game. It's not very good.
No.
I'm not going to sit here and say it's like the greatest game ever, but it's probably more dynamic than almost any of the other early NES arcade style games, because Super Mario Brothers was a launch game, but Mario Brothers, not Super Mario Brothers, but Mario Brothers ended up getting ported later on. And that's a really good port, by the way. And that's a more static arcade style game like Donkey Kong was. Donkey Kong also got ported, right? Yep. So yeah, I really liked that game, but obviously Super Mario Brothers was everything.
Oh, hell yeah. Insane. Let's go over some
Oh, yeah, go on. Sorry. No, please. No.
I was saying, let's go over some notable games from NES. I just wrote down a bunch I remembered off the top of my head. Super Mario Brothers 1 through 3, Zelda 1 and 2, Mega Man 1 through 6. Damn.
Hell yeah.
6 Mega Man games
Fuck
on there.
Yeah.
Castlevania 1 through 3, Contra and Super C, Ninja Gaiden 1 through 3, DuckTales, and there's DuckTales 2 as well. Final Fantasy, Metroid, Dragon Quest. Pretty nice library right here. Or Dragon Warrior here.
Yeah, Dragon. And I was just thinking about that the other day. I never really, when you were a kid and found out it was really called Dragon Quest, you kind of almost came fixated on the fact that it was really called that. But Dragon Warrior is a better name.
Dragon Warrior is a cool name, but
yeah,
I don't know.
Dragon Quest.
I've grown fond of Dragon Quest. I've grown fond of the name.
Yeah, like I've vacillated where I'm like, actually, they kind of had we should have had the Resident Evil Biohazard kind of thing where they should have kept the Dragon Warrior name, because once that they were able to get the IP there, I think that was in the, well, it started with Dragon Quest 8, I guess, in the West, so that would have been the Square Enix era. Yeah. That makes some level of sense. They probably have better resources, and maybe even I don't know the whole thing about the trademark about why that stopped. I think it was some like tabletop role playing game or something. Yeah,
I like both names, just to be clear. I think they're both cool, but I don't know. I'm happy when the names are just the same in both regions.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, the Biohazard thing, for instance, is a little annoying, but it's a cool little quirk. There are a few of them, like Castlevania is one of them. It's not called Castlevania in Japan.
Yeah,
it's called like Akuma, Dracula or something.
It's fucking crazy, dude.
And when you think about it, Castlevania as a name kind of sucks. It's just like what it calls, like Castlevania.
Yeah, Transylvania Castle. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. This isn't a complete list, obviously, as you well know, but it's an exceptional look into what the NES was capable of, and the NES is the best console of all time, in my opinion. It's like not even close, and it will never be beaten. There's nothing that will ever happen that will.
What do you think about that, Micah? You think it's the best console ever?
I mean, I won't agree, but because obviously that's the Xbox 360. But you know,
damn, that's brutal.
Brutal. I guess just for this list of games right here, Colin, shining stars for you, Mega Man 1 through 6.
Yeah, I mean, dude, this is the way it should have always been. Like, this is the way you beat games into the ground. But sometimes they're so good that you just keep going. They wouldn't have made all these games if they didn't sell, and they certainly wouldn't have ported them.
Yeah,
you know. So Mega Man, I mean, I won't expound too deeply. It's just like those games are just so good. Plus Zelda, plus Mario, plus Castlevania, plus Ninja Gaiden, and there are like a shit ton of just one-off games on there.
Yeah,
and there's like actually quite a few good licensed games. I would say there are like 50 probably like fucking awesome games. Dude, and for a console that has fewer than 1,000 games on it, that's pretty good.
Yeah, just all those Capcom licensed games, dude.
Yeah,
it's a lot.
Yeah,
fun shit.
Like you said, you put DuckTales in here. Obviously, that DuckTales is a big touchstone for the new game we're making at Lilymo with Saint Slayer, but just the downward pogo, which you could also interpret as Zelda 2. You can even interpret that a little bit as like Faxanadu or something. It really depends on your touchstone. But dude, The Legend of Zelda 1 that's
the game that did for me, man. That's what started it all. My deep love.
It's just absolutely. I actually have it. Yeah.
It is a crazy ass game when you think about it for the time.
I have the instruction manual still. And like I used to obsess over this thing when I was a kid.
Really cool art.
Yeah, like just the art in it, if people comes through, like it just like this is the kind of stuff that I loved about games, was just here's everything, and here are the enemies, and here are the bosses, and you read about them, and you translate that into the experience on the screen. And it was so powerful for a young person's imagination. Games are still like that, but it's different now.
Yeah, it's just different.
It's just it's different. And I'm not saying it's worse or better. It's probably objectively better now. But there was something about growing up playing, and I know people still play these things, but like I played a lot of D&D. I played a lot of like role-playing games on console, and I just loved nerdy things like that, and like being in another world kind of, and trying to not exist in it, like getting lost in Fallout or something. It's different, like, but rather trying to see what it's trying to do. I always talk about Castlevania 2 in that regard. Like I think Castlevania 2 is an incredibly haunting game if you see it for what it is. The whole idea of it, it's all
very
fucked
ambitious.
Up. Yeah, it's big, and it's ambitious, and it's sprawling, and like it's dark. It's basically saying you fucked up in the original Castlevania and you have to fix it.
Killing Dracula.
Yeah. Like, and the day-night cycle, and I'm like, dude, that game was so intense. I'd be like this close to the fucking screen playing it.
Oh yeah. Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. Micah, just kind of off this list we have right here, have you checked out any of these games? I know there's so many Nintendo games still for you to play, but have you gotten a chance to try out any of these games? Like Super Mario 1 to 3? Okay.
Well, you're playing Dragon Warrior 1 right now.
They're playing the remake.
I did play that. Yeah, I did play the remake. Most of my time with Nintendo Switch Online, I've spent exploring the Game Boy catalog.
Oh, okay,
cool. And I've spent some time with the SNES catalog, and we did get the SNES Classic. I was able to secure one of those when it came out. So like that's when I discovered Kirby's Dream Course and fucking loved it. But the NES I have not spent as much time with in NSO. The Game Boy catalog is the one that's like, it has the Fire Emblem games in it, and I've spent the most time there.
Cool. I mean, that's totally fine. There's so many games, dude. You can't play everything. But yeah, shout out to the NES. Save video games.
And there are other, like, shout out to, the 2 G.I. Joe games on NES. Shout out to those. Kid Icarus, like one of my very favorites. I fucking love Kid Icarus.
Yeah.
Love it. So that game is so good. The Game Boy sequel is really good too. That was the era of the Game Boy sequel. Metroid also got a Game Boy sequel.
Did you try the 3DS one?
Yeah, I played it when I was at IGN. I wasn't really.
It wasn't what you're.
Not what I'm looking for. Yeah. Didn't Sakurai do that game?
Yes, he did.
It's interesting.
He always gets to do one passion project in between Smash Brothers.
What they should still do, but I don't know where I don't know where their heads are. I'm not an expert on Nintendo these days. Is they should do a side-scrolling Kid Icarus game. I mean,
I wouldn't be opposed to that. I feel like they don't think Kid Icarus is even worth doing because no one knows about it.
Yeah, it's probably true. Yeah, I think it's such a cool world, and it's so embedded in me because it was one of the games we had early on, and I loved it. It wasn't a launch game, but it was in that era of games, and like Metroid and later Zelda, like in the like 87, 88 era, and even in 86, like things that we just didn't know. We had no idea when games were coming out; they would just show up, and then eventually Nintendo Power would would help shepherd us. But dude, yeah, there's so many great games. Zelda 2 is a profoundly underrated game.
It's a really good game. Yeah, really good.
I don't know like what a lot of people have a huge problem with that game, but
I think it's just because it's super different from the first game.
It's radically different. I love this thing. I say this all the time, and I know I say this, and it's not, Mega Man doesn't do this, but everyone, Ninja Gaiden doesn't really do this either, but like there was this instinct to do something totally different for a sequel. And I think that's kind of cool.
No, yeah, I respect it.
Final Fantasy, we didn't get Final Fantasy 2 here in the States but even that was a reflection of that feeling. Like it was a really different game with like totally different leveling systems and stuff. I love that idea that they were like, we can't do the same thing. And then there were certain companies that were like, oh yes, we can.
Yeah. Capcom. Yeah. All day, baby.
And what's funny is that these series would just return to form. Like if they did stray. So Mario strayed, although not technically because the Mario 2 in Japan is different, but they went back and Mario 3 was kind of like a refinement of that. And then Super Mario World was a refinement on that. Zelda famously goes back with Link to the Past to a classic Zelda style game. So they do get back to where they're supposed to be, but I think it's cool that they deviated. Yeah. And we're like, yeah, we're going to just do this weird top down map and then like a side scroller. It's like, okay.
Yeah. Very,
well,
very
and if I can add in too, just they added in November one of the Kid Icarus Game Boy games to NSO.
Myths and Monsters.
I'm always just curious though when they do those if they're tracking player data to gauge interest. Like I'm not saying like, oh my God, they're definitely going to do it, but there's always to me a small chance of like if there was a surge of people playing it and they had the play time and they're like, oh my God, people spent a lot of time playing this, they really loved it. Maybe we consider doing something with it. I always hold out a little bit of hope like that when some of these titles get added, just because it's like if we all show how much we love it, maybe they'll make a new one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, you better hope Sakurai's around for a long time because he's the only one that'll probably do it at Nintendo. So God bless the man. All right, let's move on to Game Boy. Huge deal at the time when it came out. Released in North America on July 31st, 1989 for $89.99. So launch titles.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Let me go quickly through this. Launch titles. Tetris, pack-in, of course. Amazing pack-in. Super Mario Land, baseball, tennis, Alleyway. Colin, go ahead.
Alleyway's a jam.
I was going to say, I knew you were going to fucking say something about Alleyway, dude.
Yeah,
I knew
Alleyway's a total jam. For people that don't know, Alleyway's like a brick breaker.
Yeah. Yep.
Super Mario Land's an awesome game.
Super fun.
Here's the thing about Game Boy. Oh, you have to remember, like I'm a child, like at this point, right? I was born in 1984. The only reason I had really any access to anything was because of my brother. And, until I was like 5, 6, and then you really start getting your own shit. Like I got Mega Man 3 myself. Like that was given to me. Castlevania 3 was given to me. But the earlier stuff, let's say just any time in the 80s, that's like really through Dagan and Dagan's tastes, right? And his access to like resources. Dagan's 11 years older than me. So he was working and like eventually out of high school and he was buying things. And like, so he would buy so much shit. It was awesome. And we would rent games and all the rest. The reason I say this is because Dagan hates the Game Boy.
Damn, he hates it.
And so I didn't even have the opportunity. Like we were getting bombarded. If you had Nintendo Power at the time, like you were flipping through the pages and like just I just loved looking at like I was like in first grade or second grade at these times. It's like I didn't know what the fuck was going on, or even kindergarten where you're like I'm not reading it.
Yeah, you're just looking at pictures,
and you would just see pictures of this thing. And it's like, oh, this is so cool, and the monochromatic kind of it was. I mean, the Game Boy's not a great machine. No. They were trying to make something cheap. It's not backlit. I mean, it's almost unthinkable. Like, I don't think even younger people realize like the Game Boy wasn't backlit. You had to like somehow figure out a way to play it on the go, but be able to see it.
Yeah.
And like you would play it under a lamp, like on your couch. I mean, it was a very weird thing. And it wasn't until the Game Boy Advance redesign.
SP.
Yeah, right. That it was backlit. Like even the Game Boy Advance wasn't backlit.
Yeah, and I was in fucking high school when that came out. That was like 2004 or 3, something like that.
And so I always remind people of like how good we had it. Now people ask why. It's because like that would have drained the battery like insane levels of it. And you later saw that with the Game Gear, which was a really cool machine. But the Game Gear had 8 batteries. It was comical. Like I had a couple friends that had Game Gear, and they would basically exclusively play it with their RF switch because it's like what is the purpose? It would literally use like I think 6 AA batteries in like 2.5 hours or something, and it was over. But it was beautiful. It was a Genesis. It was basically a Genesis. They basically did the Nomad later, which was a Genesis. Yeah. And so I get it. Like at the time, we were kind of like, that kind of sucks. But and then I would go to school, and my friends would have the Game Boy. I didn't get the Game Boy until 92, I want to say, and I bought it with my own like it might even been communion money or something. And we used to go to a store called Bradley's, ironically. And it was do you remember Bradley's, Micah? Because it's a New England thing.
No, we did not have that back home. I mean, if there was one, it went out before I was like conscious of stores around me. But like we definitely, I don't remember there being one in my local area, for example. Because I remember like our mall did have EB Games, which later turned into GameStop. But I don't remember Bradley's being a thing.
Oh, yeah. Well, Bradley's is more like a department store.
Oh, like Ames?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Like Ames or Montgomery Ward.
We had Ames. Yeah. So I don't think we had Bradley's. It might have been like, too competitive.
And they went out of business like, I don't know, in the 90s or something. But they had like an electronics section. And it was, it's like one of those electronics sections where it's kind of like a static electronics section. They're not getting like new product all the time. It's like a place where like, maybe like grandma will come pick you something up or.
Yeah.
And they had this game. They just had like a lone Game Boy in the case, like for months. And it was just there, like, this is available. I think it was $89 or $99 or whatever. And I just would go, my mom would go like to get odds and ends, and I would just like go to the electronics section and like stare at it. And eventually,
dude, I remember doing that shit all the time. I remember staring at like Super Nintendo, just being like, one day I will get you. One day. And then finally, I used some money and bought I got that Game Boy, like the Game Boy out of that case. Dude, that's sick.
And it was awesome, Yeah. And I think I got Mega Man. There were 5 Mega Man games on Game Boy, which were like excellent Game Boy games. They were all like kind of these pseudo ports of old Mega Man games that were stitched together. Do you ever play them? Like one is like half Mega Man 3 and half Mega Man 4. One is like half Mega Man 4 and half Mega Man 5. It's strange.
I want to say I've played some of it. I probably never finished any of them though.
And then the 5th one is a unique game, like its own game with its own. And the Robot Masters are planets. So it's like
really
Mercury,
cool.
Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and stuff like that.
Damn,
it's pretty cool.
That's sick.
And that's playable on the. I know that's on, or at least it was on the. Yeah. So that's a really, really great game. But so I ended up getting the Game Boy a little late. The kids that I was talking about that had the Master System, the Genesis, and the NES growing up, they had a Game Boy early on, and so that was like my hands-on experience. We would, as school became so different because I would go on later, but in that early fat Game Boy era, people were still kind of skeptical of bringing their electronics to school too much. You would like get it taken away or whatever. Yeah. By the time the Game Boy Pocket or Game Boy Advance, it was like whatever.
Yeah, totally. I love the original Game Boy design.
It's awesome.
So cool.
It's awesome.
It's so awesome. Rad, man.
Now the Game Boy I bought, I don't believe had any bundle in game on it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I thought Tetris was a pack-in game. Maybe they sold it later on.
Yeah, I think there was different SKUs later on to like make it cheaper.
Okay.
And I had ended up because I love Tetris on NES as well. I think that's an awesome port of Tetris. Going back, that we didn't know what that even meant. It was just such a solid version of that game. And then Tetris 2 was a good game as well. And I have memories of that because I traded a kid in school like some toys for it.
Oh,
like some random Marvel shit or whatever to like for his copy of Tetris 2.
The trades, man.
As one did. Yeah.
Man, here I'm gonna put this...
and shout out to the Game Boy revisions.
Yeah. Oh, so many good ones. I'm gonna post one in chat right now. I always wanted this one, but it was a Game Boy Pocket. It was like a nice blue color.
I remember this.
I was like, "Fuck!" I always wanted that, and I never got it.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, so nice looking. God damn. I love the way Game Boy looks. It's so good. Shout out Game Boy.
The Game Boy Pocket was awesome. And it was not only smaller, but it sharpened the screen. It was like a sharper screen. Yeah. It still wasn't backlit, but it was easier to see.
Mm-hmm.
And then Game Boy Color was cool too, but
yeah, I had a color.
Me too. Well, because there were games you could only play.
Yeah, we're gonna get to it. Don't worry, I got it here.
Oh, okay.
We'll go over some of the games, though, really quick. Just that I wrote down off the top of my head again. Oh, wait. Yeah, Game Boy. Legend of Zelda, Link's Awakening. Super Mario Land 2, 6 golden coins. Donkey Kong, 94. Pokemon, Red, Blue, Yellow. Metroid 2, Return of Samus. Final Fantasy Adventure, Kirby, Dreamland 1 and 2. Super Mario Land 3, Wario Land, Super Mario Kart. Oh, no, wait. Mario Kart's on here. That's meant to go to Super Nintendo. But some pretty damn good games on here right away.
Yeah, there are some this is a machine that's kind of like PS4 and that it kind of just never went away.
Yeah.
It's amazing that it came out. I don't think a lot of people realize, like, 1989. It was a gimped NES.
Yeah.
They were launching games in the literal late N64 era on it that were selling hundreds of thousands of copies. And it's pretty remarkable, I think.
Pokemon came out in Japan in 1996.
Right.
Like 7 years after that thing was out.
Right. And because there was such a distance, as we know, between the localization, like we didn't get Pokemon until 98, that just artificially prolonged the popularity of Pokemon, just made it so like you couldn't really get rid of the Game Boy. And then they had to figure out what they were going to do, you know? But yeah, there are a lot of Game Boy games that were good because Game Boy games were more affordable.
Yeah.
So you just had
like 40? I'm trying to remember how much they were.
You could get, I think they were 30, 40, and I think maybe some of them were 50.
Okay.
But I don't even know if they were 50. Like, I don't remember that really. I remember them being like $39.99 or something like that.
I think Pokemon Red was like $30 or something. Standard price. I'm sure people might have charged more, but damn.
So you have a nice list of games here. Kirby's a big touchstone on the original Game Boy for a lot of people. There's obviously good representation on NES and then SNES as well, but that's kind of where Kirby belonged in like those early, and that's like, so that was cool. Metroid, you have Metroid 2, Return of Samus. I have a very specific memory of that game. My long before I ever owned it, my neighbor Brian had it, and I was like, you're like looking over his fucking shoulder on this little ass screen, like trying to see how cool it was.
Yeah,
Kid Icarus was cool just because we loved Kid Icarus, so getting a sequel was neat, and that was the last time we would ever see Kid Icarus until Uprising came out, and of course he would be in Smash as well, but Pit. But Super Mario Land games are great. The Pokemon games are great. You have Final Fantasy Adventure here, which is great. That's a Seiken Densetsu game, which we didn't have any idea at the time.
Mana game,
right? A mana game. Sorry to get a little. I was turning it.
Getting a little weeb right there. Yeah, getting the Japanese name.
3 big games for me are the Final Fantasy Legend games, but they are the final. But the Final so I believe Sunsoft published the Final Fantasy Legend games in the West, and Final Fantasy Legend 1, 2, and 3 were these like Game Boy spin-off Final Fantasy games, and they were originally launched like in the early 90s, but they really didn't have like much market permeation. And then they were, I don't know if you remember this, Brad, they were republished in the late 90s, probably in like 96, 97, and they had like really vivid color boxes. So like Final Fantasy Final Fantasy Legend 1, I think was like just red. I think Final Fantasy, the second one was green, and the third one was blue. Just like that was it, with like the logo and just blue, just green.
Oh,
and
yeah.
they really popped
yeah,
on the shelves. And I bought those games and I fell in love with them.
Aren't these like Saga games?
Yeah, they're like some other series.
Okay.
And they're very, like, I remember needing help online with them. Like very, like you didn't really know what the fuck you were doing. Final Fantasy Adventure was a much more playable action role-playing game. Yeah. And that game was super cool too. And that came in like a beautiful green box as well.
Yep. Really nice.
There were some other, so Pokemon was really big for me.
Phenomenon.
Like
Huge.
It was obviously big for a lot of people, but I really did love Pokemon.
Everyone I knew played Pokemon. Like everyone, every kid.
I was in 9th grade. So I was, and 9th grade, I know it's like, was it really ever different? And like 9th grade in 1998 is a little different than 9th grade is now. Like Dagan always talks about this, like for him, that it was even more extreme where like, you got to put the toys away, dude, kind of thing. And I was kind of like breaking out of, like, I was in the generation where I'm like, I don't know that I'm ever going to put the toys away. Actually, I think I'm going to keep buying Star Wars figures. I think I'm going to keep playing Dungeons and Dragons. The only reason I stopped buying G.I. Joes is because they stopped making them. Right. Like, and I feel like that Pokemon was kind of that era, because I remember there being this kid in my class. I won't even, his name's not important, but he was bullied. He was morbidly obese. He was the smelly kid and all that kind of stuff. But like, in hindsight, you kind of look at it and you're like, that's sad. I didn't really ever bust his balls or whatever. I was kind of like a neutral. Yeah. Certainly didn't stop anyone from getting teased or whatever. I'm not like this heroic figure, but I wasn't going to like really pile on anyone.
It's like, I'm just lucky I'm not being targeted.
Right. Like I was bullied.
I'm also a weirdo.
Right. Exactly. Like I was bullied, not bad. I wasn't like a target, but people bullied me for sure. I mean, so yeah, I wasn't really like trying to put that on anyone. But I remember he played like he was really into Pokemon and people used to bust his balls so bad about it. And I was like, dude, I love Pokemon. Like to myself, I'm like, I have all 150 Pokemons on my save file on Pokemon Red. And I have a link cable and I play people, and you kind of kept it to yourself, but it was cool that the Game Boy was like a transcendent piece of hardware, because I had it in the NES era and I had it in the SNES era and I had it in the N64 era. And really it didn't truly go away until the Game Boy Advance, which was on the precipice of the GameCube. So it's really cool that it was like a piece of continuity, and we have Pokemon to thank for it for sure.
Yeah.
There were other really good, the Zelda games, like the late Capcom.
Yeah, the Oracle games, those are color games.
Oracle Seasons, those games are fucking dope.
Yeah. Oh, we're going to get to them.
That's kind of that technically Game Boy Color, though, I guess, right?
Yeah, it is. Micah, Game Boy. You've played some Game Boy games. What are some Game Boy games you enjoy?
No, I was wrong. I played Game Boy Advance games.
Oh, okay. But you have played the remake of Link's Awakening, at least. I know that.
Oh, absolutely. I love that game. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's one of your favorite Zelda games. Yeah.
The best part is to not have the music on at the end and just miss the whole song that they play. And just listen to a podcast over it or something. Yeah, God damn, I remember people were really upset about that.
Yeah, this big moment.
They're like, you didn't hear the fucking Windfish song. It's like, oh, geez, man. Like, it's in the middle of something.
Shout out Windfish.
Didn't seem important.
And by the way, shout out to all of like the shitty ports to Game Boy too. Like they did try to squeeze a lot of garbage on the Game Boy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Some of it worked, some of it didn't, but there was like some Capcom ports. Like there was a Little Mermaid port that I think was fairly respectable on Game Boy. I never played it.
Never played that. Yeah.
Like some of the Capcom stuff came, but there was a DuckTales port on Game Boy.
On Game Boy? I've never played that. I don't think I've played it. No.
And so some other. Oh, you know what? I got to give a shout out to Konami with the Castlevania games.
The Adventure games.
Yeah, they were strange.
I'll say.
I remember even feeling that at the time. I'm like, yeah, like this isn't translating as well. It's still the same stiff gameplay and whatnot.
Yeah,
they remade Adventure, I think. On
Wii. Was that like a Wii game?
It was like a WiiWare game. Yeah.
Yeah, I never played it.
And it's very vertical, and that's because of the Game Boy.
Yeah.
It just felt kind of natural to be climbing.
Sure.
Instead of like scrolling the screen in a different way. I think it was probably easier for the machine to handle.
Yeah. All right. Super Nintendo released in North America on August 23rd, 1991 for $199. Launch titles, we got Super Mario World Pack-In, which was nice. F-Zero, Gradius 3, Pilot Wings, and Sim City. Man, Super Mario World, what a pack-in.
Yeah,
holy moly.
Geez, dude, that's all you need.
Yeah, what an amazing piece of video game.
We had Pilot Wings as well, which I think I was just too young to understand it. I'm like in second grade or whatever. I'm like, and Dagan loved it. I'm like, I hate this fucking game. Yeah, I was like, why did you buy this? Because I remember, Gradius was one. I'm like, why didn't you buy like... Now we ended up having a really robust collection of SNES games, of course. This is when Dagan was like basically graduating from high school, and he had like a job and like all this, and he would just buy so much shit. It was awesome. As I recall, it was this Christmas of '91 we got our SNES. So And I think it was given specifically to me, actually.
Nice.
Like, it was like part of my Christmas presents or whatever.
Colin.
But Dagan ended up, like, it's fun, which is like fine. Like, it was like everybody's. Allie, it's worth noting, my sister Allie also was a big gamer as a kid.
Okay. She grew
My
out
sister
of it?
Dana didn't give a shit and doesn't give a shit, but Allie was like really into it too. So it was like for everybody.
Cool.
Yeah, man. I remember those early days. Mario World was everything. I mean, we were really into Mario 3, obviously, and it just felt like a resolution of Mario 3. It's like Mario. It's 2D Mario in its purest form, and it's one of the greatest games of all time. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. Like what's
game.
wrong with Super Mario World? Like, name fucking one thing.
I dare you.
I dare you. This is where I really started to fall in love with role-playing games. NES, we had the 4 Dragon Warrior games, which were really big. My neighbor, the oldest brother that had the NES, he was really into role-playing games, and so I was obsessed with Dragon Warrior when I was a kid, because if people out there that had the copies of the games, like, we get these games now, nothing comes with them, like not even an instruction manual, not even a sheet. But like, these games came with insane levels of documentation that you would never see in a game today. Like, where you would fold them out, like fold out these, and it would be every enemy with like all the statistics on it, and like every weapon all drawn. It was like amazing, like a map.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, dude. But it felt like such a niche thing. And I didn't understand it at the time, but the NES just couldn't really do what was necessary technically to make these games more expansive.
Yeah.
And so this kind of documentation was almost necessary, because like half the information that you would never know was actually just embedded in this stuff. And so I was into it, but I was like, oh, and I also, like, I was too kind of young, and it was kind of hard for me to interface with these games. I was more apt to play like the action role playing games, Zelda 2, Faxanadu, shit like that. And then a real seminal game was very early in the SNES life cycle, which was Final Fantasy 4, as we knew it as Final Fantasy 2.
Yes.
And Dagan and I were completely obsessed with this game, and I was like enchanted by it. I was in 3rd grade maybe, and I've told the story many times that Dagan and I, our rooms were like next to each other, and so I would go to bed, and then he would come, like, when everyone was like asleep, he'd come wake me up, and we would play all sorts of games, and I would just like hang out in his room.
Cool.
And it was totally like irresponsible, but it was fun. And I just watched him play this game, and I was like, Jesus, like, that's why I have such a soft spot for that game, because I was like, this is what I want to play.
Yeah.
This is the kind of game I want to play. And I was enchanted by it. I was enchanted by everything about it. The art, and just the game. We used to get really good at games, and then you could beat them really quickly. And there's nothing you can really do to get through this game quick. You can be good at it, but you got to just play it. And it just was a magical experience for me. And then so later on, when I remember buying Final Fantasy 3, because I don't remember the specific act of buying many games, because I bought many hundreds of games in my life, but I remember that because it was such a big moment, because I was like, oh shit, I'm going to be able to relive this again. And then not only did I get to relive it, but it was even better somehow.
Yeah, and you thought, yeah.
The SNES is a really special machine. Link to the Past is a very nostalgic game too.
Yeah. SNES is definitely one of my favorite machines ever. I adore that console.
Mega Man. I was gonna say, I'm sorry to interrupt. I was gonna say Mega Man X also big game for me.
Big
and
game.
I'm not a huge X fan, because I don't think the X series really matured well. I think that the X series on SNES, the 3 games there, were really excellent 10s basically of games, but the X series lost its way. By the time you get to X8, it's like, what even is
it goes off the rails for sure.
But I have a very vivid memory of Mega Man X, because I had lived in Maine at the time, and I had just went to Toys R Us to buy it, and my brother was visiting, and it was like a massive blizzard, and we were like just basically snowed in and just playing Mega Man X. It was just very nostalgic memory. Super Metroid is a memory for me, because I'm pretty soft on Super Metroid compared to a lot of people. I remember being like, I don't really like this game.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember sticking with it, and I still don't really love it. What else? Mario Kart it's funny. I don't like Mario Kart. I didn't like Super Mario Kart. It was such a popular game.
Yeah, it was
with friends and stuff, but I just didn't like that. And then there's a shit ton of role playing games on there that are really amongst the cream of the crop. And you have just a lot of stuff from Enix and some stuff from Squaresoft that's really good as well. But you just have random stuff like Breath of Fire, Lufia, Secret of Evermore. What's that game? Seventh Saga.
Yeah.
Ys 3 was a game that I played for the first time, the SNES version of Wanderers of Ys. And then all the games we didn't end up getting till later that we didn't even know we were missing. Another big game for me, one of my favorite games of all time, is ActRaiser. And that's an SNES game, an early SNES game.
Is that NX?
Yeah, it's NX, yeah.
Okay.
And there's a game called ActRaiser Resurrection, which is like kind of a remake of ActRaiser that's on PS4 and PS5. Dude, it's really, really good. I love
that came out a couple of years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just some notable games. Of course, Super Mario World, Zelda: Link to the Past, Final Fantasy 2 and 3, which is 4 and 6, Chrono Trigger, F-Zero, Super Mario RPG, Secret of Mana, Mega Man X 1 through 3, Donkey Kong Country 1, 2, and 3. I didn't write 3. Super Metroid, I forgot about that game. Star Fox, and Super Mario Kart. What a fucking library, dude. Shout out to Aladdin as well on SNES. Shinji Mikami joint. Amazing console. Micah, have you had a chance to play a lot of these games or any of them?
Not too many.
Well, you didn't like Link to the Past. We know that.
No, I did not like it.
We'll go back one day. One day.
I won't actually, but that's fine. When I got the SNES Classic, I tried Earthbound, and I did play a good amount of it, and I liked it until you get to like the fucking randomized town, and then I said, I've seen enough. That was fun, and I left. I loved Kirby's Dream Course.
Yep.
That was legitimately, like, I played so much of that.
Cool.
I fucking love Kirby's Dream Course. It's excellent. With Nintendo Switch Online, I tried some like truly random stuff like Nobunaga's Ambition and Romance of the Three Kingdoms 4. Like that one I spent the most time with, and like it's weirdly funny in various ways. There's a lot more dialogue than I expected. The characters are actually like, they're just interesting. They have more personality than I would have expected. The actual game is so slowly paced. Like it's neat, but oh my God, it's so fucking slow. And like you'll make administrative choices and it'll take like months for them to bear fruit. And then you're like, well, that didn't work. And it's interesting, but I was like, all right, I'm not, I'm definitely not turned into a Romance of the Three Kingdoms stan.
Yeah, that's pretty sick though. You played that game for so long.
I tried it.
Of all the games.
It hooked me. Well, I ended up, at first I had no clue what I was doing. Then I ended up looking up a guide. I started like a new playthrough once I kind of had a better idea of it. And then I was just like, when you play it correctly, because I was kind of just being like a warlord, when you play it correctly and it's like, it's going to take you about 4 years to build your army. It's like 4 in-game years is a long time, dude. And you're just, it's a lot. It's a lot. But it was cool. It was interesting to check it out. Breath of Fire, I have the Game Boy Advance version. I also got filtered out of that pretty quickly. But that's something I want to try again on NSO instead, since you could just reload and rewind. But yeah, Link to the Past, I got to a certain section and I was just like, I don't want to do this anymore. But, you know, and it's okay. I'm a modern Zelda lady. It's fine.
Yeah, it's a modern Zelda lady.
Fine. Just
I want you to try, if you haven't, Super Mario World sometime. Give it a spin. Perfect video game.
All right.
I mean, it is the perfect video game.
Maybe before you watch the Mario movie.
Now you're stacking on things. Yeah,
hey, that's mandatory.
What if I play it while I watch the movie?
No. Don't do that.
Let me be a tablet kid in peace.
All right, let's move on to
wait. One more thing I want to say. I'm sorry, just because I would be disingenuous to not say this. A major portion of my SNES gaming at this point was also sports games.
Yeah, sure.
And
I remember there's like a Ken Griffey Jr. baseball game. I remember.
Oh, dude, big. I was like, I played all. I loved Roger Clemens baseball, MVP baseball, with like no licensing. So it was just like made up teams, and I would like play these fucking ornate seasons with these fucking made up teams and these made up players, because it really all started with Baseball Stars on NES, which is an awesome game. Like Baseball Stars on NES is so unnecessarily good. That was an SNK game way ahead of its time.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just say that, like, so far ahead of its time. Go play fucking Blades of Steel or ice hockey or baseball or something, and then play Bases Loaded, or even Bases Loaded, and then play Baseball Stars, and you'd be like, oh my god,
yeah, like
this deep statistical system and leagues.
Yeah,
it had a battery in it, which was cool, so it would save all that stuff. But by the time we got to SNES, this is what we were saying about Genesis. Genesis really did authentically get better ports of all the sports games. The sports games, for some reason, were just highly playable on Genesis. And NHL 94 obviously is like the iconic, which came out in late 93, was like the iconic hockey game. And I bought the NHL games every year on SNES from 93 to 97 probably. I even played, the games eventually translated. N64 didn't really get them. They got like one-off sports games, but the PS1 would start getting like the annualized sports games, but they were going into 3D. And they would also make the old versions of them. They probably made the SNES version of NHL until maybe 98 or something. And I kept buying them because I'm like, I don't want to play it I don't want to play the 3D version. And I didn't until I got pushed over. But that and Madden were big parts of my game.
Yeah, I'm not
so
gonna.
I want to throw that out there too.
Oh yeah, of course, that's good because I don't have any sports games listed. I know there's a lot of really good ones, like Tecmo Bowl and stuff like that are extremely famous. But
yeah, Tecmo Bowl
I didn't really care about them.
There's people that still play Tecmo Bowl and Super Tecmo Bowl.
Yeah,
with like updated rosters.
Yeah, people are crazy.
Which is fucking awesome.
I'm just kidding. All right. Nintendo 64 released in North America on September 29th, 1996 for $199.99. Launch games: Super Mario 64, Pilot Wing 64. That was it for, I think, until there was maybe a game in December or something. Yeah, maybe like Shadows of the Empire, I think, was fairly close.
Yeah, I think Wave Race was the next game. And then...
Oh, yeah, maybe it was, yeah.
And then, like, Killer Instinct at some point came out.
Mm-hmm. But I gotta say, no gaming generation or system ever blew my dick off harder than seeing Mario 64 for the first time and not even knowing there was an N64 out. I just saw it at a friend's house. I was like, what the fuck is this? And seeing that plumber run around, I was like, holy shit.
I remember, it's funny, man. Like, I had a very different reaction to N64. I loved the N64. I think it's an awesome machine, but it was the first time where I was conflicted. And again, this had Dagan was responsible for this. Again, my older brother, my older nerdy brother. He got a PS1. I don't know if it was launch day, but it was like that launch month or like certainly that fall of 95, because I was with him. He got it at Nobody Beats the Wiz, which is like the now defunct electronics store in the New York area. And he had like Battle Arena Toshinden and all this shit. And I wasn't really into it, but I understood that this is kind of where things are going. And then you start seeing that the game, and there were primitive versions of the games that I loved or a promise of the games that I loved. So early PS1 JRPGs that were not very good, like Beyond the Beyond or something, led into a game like Wild Arms by 97, and then later 97 Final Fantasy 7, and then you get Symphony of the Night in there as well, and then you're off to the races, right? And that machine just grabbed me, and just the promise of what was coming to it, I was like, oh, this is gonna get interesting. Like I can't believe my mind is wandering. So I started seeing N64 bubble up. Well, it was in Nintendo Power. Like, and I think it was Ultra 64 at first.
Yeah, that was the code or the name originally. Yeah,
I was kind of like, I don't want to play 3D 3D games. Because PS1 was obviously a lot of 3D stuff, but they were still doing a lot of 2D stuff as well, and so it felt like it was the best of both worlds. But the N64, if you think about it, like the N64 had almost nothing that was like truly traditional. It was all kind of changing and pushing. That's why there are so few games on it, because I think that a lot of there wasn't a lot of money to be made there probably, but also I just think a lot of developers and publishers didn't really know what to do yet. There was no way to fall back and do something more traditional, or at least offer something more safe. Even when you think about when an N64 finally got a role-playing game like in Quest, which was awful, right? It was like a totally different, it wasn't what we wanted. And so you're right. It's like, I ultimately wanted an N64 for Shadows of the Empire. I always wonder what happened where, like, because you're right, Shadows of the Empire came out like right before Christmas 96, but I don't know, they like just couldn't get it done, I guess, in time to like get it out for launch. But sometime in 97 I got like the N64 with Shadows of the Empire, and then I ended up, as I've said many times, selling a lot of my SNES collection to buy a PS1. And like games that I had a lot of SNES games, so like games that I didn't care too much about or whatever. But some games I threw in there that I like that were really valuable, and I had to go end up buying them back later. Where I was like, why did I sell this game? Like, what was I doing? The N64 was a companion machine to the PS1.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And I knew people that had only an N64, but I always wondered like how. Because like, unless you were not really that into gaming, because I was always like, there's just not that much, there, like, and a lot of it is like random sports games and wrestling games, and
there's a lot of good multiplayer games on it.
Yeah, multiplayer is big on there. 007 was 97, as I recall, and that was obviously a major game, right? Yeah. And then by 98, you get Ocarina of Time, and now you're starting to like really cook a little bit.
Yeah, then you're getting crazy.
Right. And there's like Castlevania games, and I remember a lot of the early, like Turok was an early game, and that was cool.
Yeah, I had Turok was an expensive game. It was like $70.
Yeah,
maybe more.
People have no idea how good they have it today. It's like it frustrates me with the cartridge stuff where I'm like, you have no idea what we were paying for this shit, man. Like, and we did pay it.
Oh, we sure did.
But yeah, like the N64 era is kind of like a little blurry to me, comparable to other eras, because it felt like I was in and out. Like, all right, well, Ocarina of Time's out. Yeah, we're in now. Now we're out because there's like 7,000 games on PS1. Now I'm back in because this came to N64, and now I'm back out again. And there was also a lot of stuff that I just, like I said, there was a lot of random sports shit. Like when you would go to like Blockbuster or a video store or whatever, and you would just like look around, it's like, what is all of this shit?
Hey, shout out to Wayne Gretzky 3D hockey.
Yeah, that was an early. Awesome. That was an early one, I think.
Yeah,
and they even started bringing like NHL. I think like the EA games. I think
there's StarCraft on N64,
right? But I was always interested in like the random shit, like especially late in the N64's generation. Like a lot of random stuff started coming out. That like there was that Dr. Mario game. That was like really good. Yeah. That was like one of the last releases on N64. There's that random weird Tactics Ogre game of Wardley Caliber or
64.
Whatever.
Yeah, right. It's 64. That one, yeah. Or I think it's Ogre Battle. I can't remember.
Oh, Ogre Battle. Yeah. Maybe that's what it is. I should have brought up a list. Let me see.
Pretty sure. Yeah, Ogre Battle 64.
Yeah, what else is on here? I remember Excite Bike being fun, but like no one really, it ended up not being.
Dude, great rental. I rented that game. It's super fun.
I liked Castlevania 64. I liked Castlevania Legacy of Darkness. Like those did translate well to
semi
3D.
The controls are pretty bad, especially the platforming parts, I remember. But really cool. I appreciate that game more than I'm old now that I'm older than I did when I was younger.
A game that I really liked that I don't think a lot of people played was the Konami game Hybrid Heaven. That was an N64 game?
I don't think I played that. No, I don't think I played that.
That was a pretty cool game. I actually bought that game on eBay for like in like 98 or 9. Maybe it wasn't 98.
Didn't play it.
I guess it would have been sometime in late 99 or early 2000 for a pretty nice discount. So yeah, there were some cool games on it, but it was just a companion machine.
Sure, yeah, I get it.
And Majora's Mask obviously is like the king of the machine to me. I think that game is just extraordinary. And I loved Mario Party, Smash Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Mario Golf was a big game for me and my friends.
Mario Golf, yeah.
Really, really big game. But like a lot of people were into stuff that I just didn't care about. Like, you know, if you're a big wrestling game fan, the N64 is like
oh my God, No Mercy on there. Holy shit, yeah.
And you have it here in your list. Like Rogue Squadron was cool. But nothing ever really, not nothing, but there were very few games on there that I felt like really hit the mark for me.
Sure.
Comparable to like what was going on PS1 at the time, which was just... It
was like, it was just completely different types of games, I felt like.
It was just overwhelming how much better it was and how much more focused I was. By 97, I was basically... Nintendo was starting to like fall by the wayside and become a companion thing. And GameCube, of course, like, I love the GameCube, but that was when I understood exactly what it was.
Yeah.
And I accepted it for what it was.
Let me read some of these notable games here. Ocarina of Time, and Majora's Mask, Banjo-Kazooie, Mario Kart 64, Wave Race, Paper Mario, GoldenEye, Perfect Dark, WWE No Mercy, Rogue Squadron, or Star Wars Rogue Squadron, Turok 1 through 3, Donkey Kong 64, Star Fox 64, Smash Brothers, Super Smash Brothers, Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2, Mario Party 3. Micah, you got history then, 64. Talk to me.
Yeah, I had one rich friend who had one. Is the only person I knew who had one. A very nice rich friend. He'd let my sister and I, a couple of street urchins, come to his house and play it. And so yeah, we'd play Mario Kart, which was my favorite.
Hell yeah!
I was the youngest kid though, and so like we'd play the 4-player, and I would get confused and be looking at the wrong screen. And I'd think I was doing really good. And then I'd be running into a fence the whole time. The cons of being the youngest and dumbest child. But I did love going over their house and playing it. That was the only game, though, that they ever brought out. I don't know what else they had. I don't know if they had anything else. It was tricky being a Jehovah's Witness kid because so many games were deemed inappropriate. So it was like, well, you can have this. And like wrestling was not allowed, know, like anything WWE wasn't allowed. So there were so many things that were just banned from the house already. So I don't know if they had any other games. That's the only one we ever played. In college, my boyfriend at the time and I did get out his old N64. And we were like, what games do you have? And he had like the South Park game.
Oh,
he had Mega Man 64.
Got out.
We spent an afternoon fiddling with it, but it wasn't anything worth spending a lot of time with.
Damn.
And at that age, like in college, it was one of those, like, we were into collecting games, but we weren't trying to invest money in an N64 collection, you know? So I didn't get to spend a ton of time with it or with any of the most renowned games. But, as a kid, I did love playing Mario Kart at the Woodburns house. Shout out to the Woodburns. They were very nice.
Shout out Woodburns. You did play through Ocarina of Time, though, right?
Oh, yeah. I played that on the 3DS version.
Okay, yeah. Cool.
Yeah. I got the 3DS version of that. And I did get the 3DS version of Majora's Mask. I just haven't gotten to it yet. But yeah, I liked Ocarina of Time. It was good. It was very good.
Yes.
I'm not someone to rank the games, really. So it's like, I've enjoyed the Zeldas so far, except for Link to the Past. But I've enjoyed them so far. I think, like, probably my favorite is still Echoes of Wisdom. Maybe Link's Awakening is in second place. And then otherwise, I've liked them all so far.
Okay. All right, let's move on to Game Boy Color really quick here. Released on November 18th, 1998 for $79.95. Launch games. Centipede, Game & Watch Gallery 2, Tetris, DX, Pokemon, or Pocket Bomberman. Not a very interesting lineup, in my opinion.
No,
color games.
No. And I didn't even care when this thing first came out. I was like, I'm not interested. And then they started to release some tantalizing games.
Yep.
And then I was like, okay. So I was in 10th grade, I think, when I got it, Game Boy Color. And like I was saying, that there were the Zelda Oracle games, which were awesome. Pokemon, which wasn't, did you have to have Game Boy Color for Pokemon Gold?
I think so, yeah. I think they were color games. Maybe you could play it on without it.
Yeah, like, I don't know why I don't remember that.
I'm like looking at the box art and it says Game Boy Color.
You're right. Yeah, so I don't know why I don't remember that. So yeah, the Pokemon games, obviously. There was that. I guess this is what I don't remember the name of it, but there was a Mega Man export. I guess this is what you have here. It's Mega Man Extreme.
I think I have. Yeah, I think I have a Japanese copy of that game for some reason. I have a Japanese like Mega Man X game on Game Boy Color. It's super weird.
Yeah, the Dragon Warrior releases you have on here. There was like cool stuff on there. But I probably only had 5 or 6 Game Boy Color games or something. Ultimately,
yeah.
Because then there were rumors of like by the time I got one, then there was the idea of the Game Boy Advance.
Oh yeah, that was like 3 years later. Right. Less than 3 years. Yeah, about 3 years.
And the Game Boy Advance was an amazing machine. But
yeah. Oh yeah.
So yeah, Game Boy Color. But again, it's so funny. The Game Boy Color was cool because it did revive the Game Boy a little bit. But it also, and it was very affordable, $80.
Yeah, and you could play old Game Boy games on it.
For it. It was like a big ad campaign for it. And it was cool. But again, still not backlit, still.
Oh.
I don't know. I don't know what they were doing. There was a Castlevania game, I think, on Game Boy Color.
Game Boy Color Castlevania game. Huh. I don't remember.
Maybe not.
So notable games for Game Boy Color: Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening DX, which is really cool at the time. Zelda: Oracle of Ages and Seasons, amazing games. Capcom joints. Pokemon Gold, Silver, and Crystal, amazing games as well. Pokemon Trading Card Game, I know people love this game. I haven't played it though. Wario Land 2, Dragon Warrior 1, 2, and 3. Mega Man Extreme.
I was thinking of Mega Man Legends, by the way, which was, or not Mega Man, Castlevania Legends, which was a later release, but not a Game Boy Color.
Oh, okay.
Actually had really cool box art. The female Belmont on it.
Oh, yeah. I think I have. Oh, no, maybe I didn't have that one. I had for sure Castlevania Adventure 1 on Game Boy, but I don't know about the other ones. All right. Micah, any games on here you want to talk about really quick? Or I don't know if you've played any of these. I mean, you've played Link's Awakening, but anything else?
No, I haven't gotten to the Oracle of Ages or Seasons games yet. And I actually don't think I knew anyone with a Game Boy Color when I was a kid. Gaming really was, for the area I grew up in, gaming was prohibitively expensive.
Sure.
And it really was a couple rich kids who had these. And so it's like, I don't think I ever even saw a Game Boy Color being played on the playground or anything.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into Game Boy Advance. Here we go. Launched in North America on June 11th, 2001 for $99.99. Let me look at some of the launch games right here. I think IGN had a long list on this.
Yeah, there's a nice launch library. I bought Circle of the Moon and
that's what I had too.
Super Dodgeball, whatever.
Oh, wait, why doesn't it say Castlevania?
Yeah, Dodgeball Advance. That's what it was.
It's not saying. I don't see Castlevania on this IGN list.
Yeah, Castlevania Circle of the Moon was definitely a.
Yeah, I was pretty sure that was a launch game. That was like the launch game, if I remember correctly. I don't know. Well, whatever.
This said, by the way, this was posted March 7th, so this is definitely not a complete.
Yeah, definitely not complete. Update that shit. Let's just go over some notable games before we dive in. Metroid Fusion and Metroid Zero Mission. Legend of Zelda: The Minish Cap. Golden Sun: Lost Age, Micah's favorite. Advanced Wars 1 and 2. Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald. Castlevania Circle of the Moon, Harmony of Dissonance, Aria of Sorrow. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, shout out. A Link to the Past plus Four Swords Adventure. Yoshi's Island, Final Fantasy 6. Getting a nice GBA port. Fire Emblem. Tactics Ogre, The Knight of Lotus. Mario Kart Super Circuit.
God.
Go off. I know you love the GBA.
God. The Game Boy Advance was so good. I have very vivid memories of going and buying it. And
what color did you get?
White. Arctic white.
Nice. Yeah, my brother had the white. I had the see-through like purple one. I think it was purple. Or like the see-through color one, whatever. You couldn't
really go wrong. And it was beginning the era of GameCube would later do this later in the year where it's like you have an option. It was kind of cool.
Yeah, color options.
I mean, obviously this began with N64 and Game Boy Pocket. We're obviously starting to do a lot of these iterative things or whatever. But I was totally obsessed with the Game Boy Advance. I went to Smith Haven Mall in Long Island. My dad brought me. It was just like the end of 11th grade. and I bought it. I pre-ordered it, bought some games, and it ended up being a really great machine. And I think the biggest shame about Game Boy Advance is that it was kind of snuffed out not in the crib, but like when it was a toddler. They were like, "You're done now," and I understand why. The DS is an even better machine, and it played all the Game Boy Advance games, and it was they really did the whole transition right, where it's like all your games are still going to work. We're just doing this other thing now. We have this other idea. But I'm sure you remember, like, they had the whole 3 pillars thing that they were going to do in the early 2000s, where they were going to try to have the Game Boy Advance and the DS at the same time. And it's like, I don't even understand why, or like to what end you're going to do this. I guess because one was supposed to be affordable and one was a little bit more expensive. But I was never into like the other, not that there were very many options, but like Atari Lynx or Game Gear and all that. I was like, I didn't give a shit about any of that stuff. Nintendo was really the company that spoke to me on a handheld basis. And they had a lot of really great support. There are a lot of really great third-party games on Game Boy Advance, in addition to, and you know what another launch game was that I bought was Super Mario Advanced.
Oh, like Advanced?
Which was Mario 2.
Mario 1?
It was Mario 2.
1? Oh, okay. Was it Mario 2? Okay.
I think Super Mario Advance 2 was Mario 3.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And 3 was World. Yeah.
The Metroid games were cool. Zero Mission was neat. Minish Cap was a game Dagan really loved. I wasn't super into Minish Cap personally. He actually lent it to me because I wouldn't buy it. And we were at Dana's house or whatever, like her old house, my sister, and he like lent it to me. I remember. The Final Fantasy ports were cool.
Yeah, 6 is a good port.
And there was a port of 4, I want to say, as well.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And maybe even 5.
I think you're right, actually. I think there is 4, 5, 6. That sounds right, actually.
Another big port for me on Game Boy Advance was Tales of Fantasia, which was that is still the only way we ever got the original Tales game in the United States. Of course, the second Tales game, Tales of Destiny, was the first Tales game we ever got in the US. And Fantasia was a Super Famicom game. And that was I loved that. Like, I remember the cartridge with the green label on it. Yeah. It felt very mystical to me because Tales of Destiny was such an important game for me. The Castlevania games, the 3 of them, are excellent. Circle of the Moon, Harmony of Dissonance, Aria of Sorrow. Advance Wars is a big one. And you have in here Golden Sun. I mean, Golden Sun was super dope too. Very traditional, which I appreciated. Pokemon. Now, what I remember about Pokemon, and this is where we get into like the actual clamshell DS, which is like or a GBA, which is like the iconic GBA.
The SP, yeah.
Right. Backlit.
Yep.
And that came out, I want to say, the same time Ruby and Sapphire came out, right?
I can't remember the exact dates.
I feel like they came out together. I definitely bought them together. I went into Target and bought the clamshell, which was the purple clamshell, and Pokemon Ruby, Ruby. So I remember that, like, because I remember reading on Game Facts, and it might have even said it in the box or something, like, make sure to charge the Game Boy, like, don't play it, like, patiently charge it all the way. Remember when batteries were like much more sensitive to like you fucking with them, and like if you halt the battery charge, it might think it's full, and then it so I remember that being a big thing, like, wait until the light turns orange or whatever it was, don't play it. And I remember plugging it in at my mom's apartment in Boston and just like patiently waiting, and it was so revolutionary to be like, holy shit, I can play this in the dark. Like, I know that sounds crazy to people, but it's like that was literally the reality of any Nintendo handheld. You had to buy, like, on Game Boy, I remember buying at Circuit City, I had a fucking light with like you like plug, it had its own battery, and then you like put it on, and it was like this lens that went over the screen so you can see it.
I had one too.
It looked crazy.
Yeah.
But they snuffed it out. And Game Boy Advance games still came out probably until 2006 maybe or something, but I feel like it had more life in it. But
it did.
But I feel like they made the right call, because the DS, it was one of those moves where like the DS is really dope, and the Game Boy Advance is dope too, but the DS is an amazing machine.
Oh, it's so good.
One of the greats. So I didn't mind it so much. But yeah, just a great companion for years for me, the Game Boy Advance. And I loved it. I remember going to Disney World with my friend Bryce and playing that on the plane and like having this like new kit to play. It was really cool. It was that later that summer. It might have even been weeks later, and been like, yeah, I have this thing I can play. It's exciting.
I remember playing it in high school, like in the back of class, playing Mario World on it. That was something special.
I played. I've said this. I think I've noted this in the past. Is that like I was so jaded by the time I graduated high school that I had my Game Boy Advance with me during the graduation ceremony, like when you're sitting there, and I was playing. This is the most random part of all. I was playing Zone of the Enders, The Fist of Mars.
That is extremely random.
And I just have very vivid memories of that, which is like no one played that game. But.
Yeah, that's so insane. Okay, Micah, Game Boy Advance. Talk to me. What have you played on it?
Yeah. So I got a Game Boy Advance SP when I was in 5th grade.
Cool.
I remember my mom took me to Toys R Us and she got it. I got the blue one. I still have it. It still works. And I got 3 games out of the clearance bin, which were Virtua Tennis, Kim Possible 2, and what was the... Oh, I got the Finding Nemo game. For the life of the system, those are the only games I ever got for it because like we just couldn't afford them.
Yeah.
As an adult, I did buy a couple games, but it's not something I've spent a lot of time with because the battery is bad.
Yeah.
It's one of those, it's like you either have to play with it plugged in constantly or you get like 10 minutes of battery life, unfortunately. So for me, revisiting the Game Boy has been primarily through Nintendo Switch Online, which is a great service. So I did play the Fire Emblem games, both of them that are on NSO. I did play the Minish Cap on there. It's been fun to go back to some of these. There are games that I want to get, but it's like the battery is such a fucking problem. I did try Golden Sun. I played for like 8 hours. I gave it a fair shake.
Yeah.
But it's like there's things I want to play on it, but I have the charger I have, the cord's really short. So it's like I gotta sit like right on a fucking outlet to play it. Or it's like you're just like you get 20 minutes of fucking battery life, which is just ass.
Yeah.
But yeah, I loved that thing. Even though I only got those 3 games for like my entire childhood, I played the shit out of them. I played that Kim Possible game so many times over. And my sister and I loved the tennis game. It was the one that had Venus and Serena on the cover, which when we were kids, they were like, incredible.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted to be them. So, and that game had fantastic mini games in it. We liked maybe the mini games more than we liked the actual tennis, but that was something else that we just played a ton of. I remember bringing that like to my grandma's house on like rainy days because she had like a really big yard. So when we'd go to her house, we loved playing outside. But on a rainy day when you couldn't go outside, and we would just play that tennis game for hours. So very nostalgic. I actually too, like one of my friends at school had the Game Boy Advance, the pink one, and she just didn't. Well, first of all, she had Hamtaro Ham Heartbreak, which was legendary, and we would play it together at recess. And one day she was like, "Oh, I'll sell it to you. I don't want it anymore." And she was gonna sell it to me in all her games for $20. Damn. And I was like, "Okay." I genuinely though had no concept of money or how much it costs, so I was like, sure. And then she came to school the next day and she was like, my parents said I can't do that. And I was like, oh, all right. Because neither of us knew how much it costs. Or like, I'm sure her parents were like, what? Like, we've spent hundreds on your game collection. Because she had them all like in a paper bag and was going to sell it to me.
That's so funny.
I remember that falling through and I was so disappointed. but yeah, I later got the SP. And it was a fantastic little device. It's very scratched up and beaten up. I don't know what happened. I don't know what the fuck I did with it. But like it's just so beat up at this point. And I'm like, I was a pretty careful kid, but apparently not with this.
I still have mine as well. It's in my drawer somewhere. I have the black one. But yeah, I loved the SP. What a nice upgrade. All right, Colin. GameCube. Released on November 18th, 2001. For $199. Let me look at some of these launch games from Game Rant right here. We had Luigi's Mansion, Oh, that's Japanese. Sorry. So we had Star Wars Rogue Leader, Rogue Squadron 2,
Mhm.
All Stars Baseball 2002, Madden NFL 2002, NHL Hits 2002, Dave Mirra, Freestyle BMX 2, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3. Was that a launch game? Disney's Tarzan Untamed, Crazy Taxi, Batman Vengeance.
Dude,
And of
Crazy
course, Super
Taxi
Monkey
was like
Ball.
I remember that being, I was like, whoa, man, times have changed.
Yeah, off Genesis.
It happened
Dreamcast.
very quickly.
I remember buying Luigi's Mansion for my game, Colin, with it. And I beat it very fast, and I went, oh, shit, I should have got Rogue Squadron instead.
Dude. Luigi's Mansion's cool.
It's cool. It's just very short.
I was a senior in high school, and this was right after 9/11, obviously. So I was a senior. I had just gotten hurt, so I was like just getting back to work, I guess. But I had money for the first. This was the big thing, was Dreamcast was and PS2 were kind of like this in that I like had a little bit of money and I can start buying games and like really exploring more because I was working, and not that I made that much, but GameCube, I remember being like, oh, I can kind of not buy whatever you want, but it's like I don't spend my money on anything.
Yeah.
So I remember being like, I'll take the black GameCube and Luigi's Mansion and Wave Race and Rogue Squadron, and then Pikmin, I think, came out a little while after that, as I recall. And then Melee came out.
Yeah, Melee was like a month later.
Right. And that was, I remember getting Melee and being like, whoa. You know, my friends coming over, and the GameCube, I love the game. I mean, I love the GameCube. And I think that Nintendo kind of got the assignment at that point, or at least it fit perfectly into what I wanted out of them, which was the N64 was the same thing. It was a supplemental machine, but it just didn't have enough games to keep you fixated, but you could kind of play just the GameCube if you wanted.
There was a lot more like third-party support, felt like, on GameCube.
And weird shit. Like when they got remember, I mean, it's a famous thing if you're a GameCube fan, but like when they solicited all those Capcom games.
Oh yeah, we're into that.
And Beautiful Joe and Resident Evil 4 and all that kind of stuff. And even like Piano 3, and there was like a bunch of random shit. And they were getting ports. Like a lot of games ultimately came to PS2, GameCube, and Xbox, like many games. But I felt like GameCube, it fit. It was still the niche. It was more. This generation is like my least favorite generation of games because I felt like I was the least focused.
Oh,
because I had the most amount of money. But even by summer 2003, I even bought an Xbox. So it's like, I'll get like Deus Ex for Xbox, and then I'm going to get like Beautiful Joe for GameCube, and then I'm going to get fucking God of War for PS2, or like whatever game, or Onimusha 3 or whatever. And I was just like, I'm like so scattered, but I think Nintendo did a much better job of representing themselves, even though the GameCube sold more softly than the N64 and ended up being a major disappointment to them. I thought it was a really, really great machine. And there are really dope games on it. Yeah. Like pretty much regularly released on it, where you're like, oh, like I love Super Mario Sunshine. I think Super Mario Sunshine is amazing. And I know a lot of people think that game is like the shitty 3D Mario. And I'm like, I think it's like the clever and interesting 3D Mario until Galaxy. Galaxy is a dope, absolute fucking banger of a game. But so I just think that, and it did have some third party support, but I think they did, and Capcom was a big player in that, and some others, but I think they did a decent job of supporting it themselves. And I also think that they, I loved the Mario Golf games, or Mario Golf game. There was, Mario Party on there as well. The Resident Evil games were a pretty big touchstone for me. Remake, Resident Evil 0. And even the ports of 2 and 3, which I thought were highly playable. Yeah. They released those for like $25 each or something like that, or like $30, which was cool. Capcom did. And I just feel like I don't know. I think I'm a lot higher on the GameCube than many other people
I think so.
And I don't like, I even like Star Fox Adventures, and everyone's like, oh, it's supposed to be Dinosaur Planet. I'm like, I don't care. It was a fun game. And Yeah, I'm sorry that more people didn't appreciate it at the time. It seems like it's like a big machine now in like hindsight, like collective. And I'm like, you guys, we could have had like a golden era if you guys just bought this thing, but you didn't. And I was there from the beginning. I was like totally sold on it because I was still like a proud Nintendo fanboy. I was by this point, I was like really hard in PlayStation's camp, but you have to understand, like, PlayStation didn't have a first party identity. It was a machine you went to because all the game, like, it was just had a bunch of great support. I think people always think it's like it was always about PlayStation games. I'm like, it really wasn't. It wasn't until the late PS2 era that outside of Gran Turismo or something that like it really became a highly relevant thing that you make your own, like Sony's actually going to make its own games and it's going to differentiate itself. That's not really what it was all about in the beginning. Nintendo was about that. Yeah. And I embraced that part of them. And then you have Wind Waker, which was awesome. Mm-hmm. And the revision around Wind Waker, I want to fucking strangle people, dude. I was there. Everyone hated it.
I was there.
I remember you hated it. And everyone called it Zelda, you know, to make fun of its graphics and all this. And I was like, what's wrong with you people? This game is dope. And now, like, all these years later, everyone's like, I always loved Wind Waker. And Wind Waker is great. I'm like, mm-hmm. Sure you did. So
we remember.
I liked more controversial. Like, I liked Rogue Squadron 3, Rebel Strike.
Oh yeah,
a lot of people didn't like that game because there was like on foot missions.
Yeah, you're getting out on foot. Yeah, I remember platforming in Dagobah. I'm like, this sucks.
I liked it personally. Maybe that's not a huge, you know, the biggest surprise. There were also fun like sports games, like 1080 was cool.
That was N64. Well, there was a GameCube one as well.
There was an 1080 Avalanche. Yeah. So like there was a lot of like duds too. Like they tried to like and it wasn't even like necessarily maybe. I feel like it was the intent. Like there were some like half-baked 007 games and always chasing the golden eye high. I like Twin Snakes, but a lot of people don't. Mm-hmm. I thought it was weird, and
it is weird. Yeah,
and it's from a more quaint era of ports and remasters and remakes where like it wasn't. And it's funny that they remade the game so quickly, and now like they don't remake games for decades.
They had to make it all Matrix-esque because the Matrix came out in '99.
Right, exactly. Tales of Symphonia you have here. I mean, that was a big one.
Yeah, that's what got me into the series. I don't think I ever heard of it until then.
Yeah, Symphonia was the 5th Tales game, I guess, or 6th. And yeah, there were more because we had Tales of, what was it? Fantasia, which we never got here, and then Destiny, and then Eternia, and then so maybe the 5th, something like that. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, I loved the GameCube, and it had a prominent place with me and made me very bullish on where Nintendo was going. I kind of could accept that. I mean, like by the time like Killer 7 or something came out, like the GameCube was like totally dead. But
yeah,
I feel like it was even dead by the time Resident Evil 4 came out. It was almost like it was.
That was like the last big thing. It felt like I can remember.
And they just brought it to PS2.
Yeah, they did.
I remember. I remember Mikami. Do you remember Mikami saying that if they ever ported the game to PlayStation, he would cut his head off with a chainsaw?
Yeah. Like a year later or less, there it was with some like new content.
Right. Exactly. It was like totally. It was predictable though. I'm pretty sure most of those Capcom games ultimately.
No, Zero didn't. Well, Zero, they came out eventually with the HD remasters, but Zero didn't get a port.
Yeah, Resident Evil Zero.
Or Remake didn't get a port either.
Right. Well, yeah, not until the PS4 era, I guess, right?
Yeah, not until that era.
So, yeah, it was a really cool machine. And there's a lot. Oh, you have in your list too, 2 games that I totally forgot. Eternal Darkness was an early dope game. And Soul Cal 2.
Oh my God, so good.
For people that don't know, Soul Calibur 2 was a big deal because each platform had its own exclusive character. And Xbox's, I think, was like Spawn, right?
Yeah, where everyone's like, what? Spawn?
But if you got it on GameCube, you got Link.
And PS2 got Heihachi.
Heihachi, yeah, which was also, I was like, I don't give a fuck about this.
Yeah, it's like Link's obviously the coolest one here. What are we
Soul
doing?
Cal 2 is a big one for me and my friends. And yeah, you have the Sonic Adventure ports. That's right. Yeah, there's a lot. Paper Mario, that's another big one. Oh, Metroid Prime. Yeah. So like there's so many.
Great games.
So many. Yeah.
Really great games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
GameCube was a dope machine.
It was a really cool console. It was a really weird console too, because that's when they were experimenting with like connecting Game Boy Advances to it a lot for games like Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles I had. And like to do multiplayer, you would need everyone have their own individual Game Boy Advance plugged into the GameCube actually. So it was very cumbersome. And of course, with Four Swords Adventures, it was also the same because it would do like stuff, you'd split up in the game, then you'd play it on the screen, then back to the main screen. Pretty innovative, but
Link to that Four Swords Adventures. Yeah, was cool. I also want to give a shout out to the Wavebird, which I thought was just the
wireless controller. Yeah, I never had one of those.
I loved it, and I always say I remember the commercials. Like the commercials were really funny for it, where they're like, there's like a kid who's like sick, but he has like the GameCube, and they're all like
he's outside
playing.
the house. The kid's outside the house.
Yeah, right. So
yeah, that was good shit.
Yeah, I ended up getting a few of those, and yeah, it was great. I mean, it was a really great machine. It felt like a secret, and it really was. Like they sold 1/6 as so for every 6 PS2s, they sold a GameCube. That's fucking getting crushed.
Yeah, I mean, every kid I knew had a PS2. Everyone.
There were more PS2s than there were Xboxes and GameCubes times 3.
Yeah.
So there was just there was just totally saturated, and GameCube felt like the little secret. Like if you were really into games, like I only knew a couple people that even had one. And when you look back at it, it's like, yeah, there were only 22 million of them. That's not a lot. Like, yeah, there are 87 million PS5s already sold. That goes to show you like how, and they've been on the market for the same amount of time, basically. So this thing was and it was kind of like Nintendo was, I think, profitable. That's what's so weird. They weren't big, but like it was fine.
Yeah.
It's just so interesting to think about how much things blew up for them in a good way.
Yeah.
And how
totally.
And I also think GameCube is emblematic of weird decision making and stubbornness and unwillingness to like do little things like licensing the DVD format. As I understand, that's a major reason why they didn't want to have the DVDs. They're like, we don't want to pay the licensing fee, which is probably like pennies.
So now you got to have the mini discs.
Right. And it's like, it's just like little things like that could have helped them. It's like, oh, the GameCube's a DVD player. Okay.
Yeah.
Like how many, like that's what helped the PS2.
Yeah.
It's just, and what helped without the Blu-ray player, the PS3 probably would have been fucking totally dead. So it was also one of those eras where I was like, what are you doing, man? You know? And I remember even thinking at the time, because there was this promise of this new Xbox machine, which was going to be this huge multimedia machine, which it ended up being, and it's going to read your CDs and it's going to read your DVDs and all this. And then you have the PS2 obviously doing its thing. And it's like, oh, we're going to release a fucking toy. And it's like, it's not 1980, dude.
Yeah. Shout out GameCube though. Love it. I'm going to just list some games on here I love. Then Mike, I'm going to go to you. Animal Crossing.
Oh,
First Animal Crossing came out.
Dude, Animal Crossing was it's so funny. Like I forgot I should have taken notes for this episode. The Animal Crossing was fucking crazy because of like what you had to do to like you had to like all these codes, right? And there was like a whole game facts board dedicated to it. It was really cool. It was a very unique and interesting
game.
It almost doesn't now knowing that, I mean, I know Animal Crossing is huge, bigger than ever by far, but there's almost something lost when it's all connected and real, where I'm like, oh, it was actually kind of interesting that it was asynchronous and weird and like
jump through hoops for sure.
Lots
of hurdles. I mean, you still do when you play that fucking game. Tales Symphonia, like I said, the first Tales game that I played, really enjoyed it. That's cool.
A lot of people's favorite Tales game.
Yeah, it's not my favorite, but it's definitely a really good one. I like. Unfortunately, the remasters have been not great. Resident Evil Remake, when I saw that game, that was like the best looking video game I've ever seen in my life at the time, visually. Holy moly, the lighting in that game was next level at the time. Came on 2 discs for that short ass game.
It was that whole Resident Evil resurgence on GameCube was cool.
Yeah, it was. Wind Waker, of course. great game. Twilight Princess, of course. I mean, I count Twilight Princess almost more of a Wii game because it came out first.
Yeah, I don't count Twilight. I wish I couldn't find it. Like I remember
back there
because I've said before I couldn't find a Wii when it launched, so I was like, I got to get Twilight Princess, and they just didn't make any copies. I think if you go and look, they made like maybe 100,000 or something. It's apparently like maybe not that low. Maybe it is that few. And it's like, damn, crazy. Like I should have like why didn't I remember being like, why didn't you fucking pre-order? Like, what did you? I just thought I would walk in and get it. Oh man, it was so frustrating, but it ended up being a blessing because Twilight Princess sucks.
Hey, whoa. We're not doing this right now. Yeah. That's another time. All right. Soul Calibur 2, like you said, amazing fighting game. Incredible.
Good shit.
And Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, just seeing it on Nintendo was fucking weird. That was weird as hell.
But that's what I was saying about like Crazy Taxi. Like,
yeah.
I love Crazy Taxi. Like, I think the first Crazy Taxi is a bomb. Like the bomb, I guess I should have said.
Yes, the bomb, as they'd say.
It was a wonderful, very repetitive Dreamcast game. And to see it appear so urgently on GameCube was, I remember being at the time being like, okay, it's interesting.
It's over.
The Dreamcast was just discontinued 6 months ago. Very interesting. So yeah, it was all. And then when Sonic started appearing with Mario, that was, which also began on GameCube. That was like that was like, oh my God, like they felt like they needed to get together, I guess, to like fight against Sony. And it's interesting how like Nintendo, you'd never want to say they were close to extinction. Like I was saying, they were making money and doing their thing, but they were close to being relegated. Yeah. To like a totally different space almost. And they just roared back.
Yeah.
Twice. And since then.
Shout out to all like the Mario games. Like you said, Mario Kart, Mario Golf. I loved Mario Golf. That game fucking rules.
Yeah, and, Toadstool Tour, the GameCube one is good shit, dude. And another, I don't know why me and my friends were obsessed with Mario Golf. It was like a weird thing. We just loved Mario Golf.
It's a good, dude. Golf games are good, man, and it's just a good ass golf game and a good Mario game. Micah, GameCube memories. Do you got any you'd like to share?
Yeah, I had one friend, again, who had one. A different friend, though. I knew one person who had one, and she had Mario Kart Double Dash, which my sister and I loved. And then she also had Super Monkey Ball, which we also were obsessed with.
What a multiplayer game, yeah.
Later in high school, my boyfriend at the time let me borrow his GameCube and a stack of games. And so I had Sonic Adventure DX, which I really liked. I'd never played a Sonic game before. I had one of the NFL Blitz games, which I loved. Like that it was just so fun and arcadey. I really otherwise don't enjoy like realistic sports games, but those were so fun. Had Animal Crossing. I also let me think. Oh, I had Harvest Moon. I got really into Harvest Moon for a bit. Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2 was fucking amazing. And my sister and I just loved that game. We would always pick cars that were way too fast. And like we wouldn't even complete the race. We would just be crashing out, but we just had
the soundtrack in that game is incredible too.
Oh my God. It was just fun.
Hot Action
it was
Cop
just fun.
That bad boy.
Just the two of us. We would play it a lot after school. Obviously my sister's 2 years older than me. So at a certain point, like she had graduated, but it's like I'd come home from school, she'd come home from work, and we'd play Mario Kart together or something. So yeah, I liked the GameCube. It's not something I got to spend a ton of time with, like when it was current.
Right.
But in high school, when I, borrowed my boyfriend's, it was fantastic. And it definitely kind of kicked off how much I liked gaming as an adult. But especially like Animal Crossing was an obsession. I didn't get it at first though. I remember my friend Fotini came over one day and she was like helping me because she's like, why do you have all this stuff? And I was like, well, I don't know what's important. She's like, no, you got to, she's like, we went to like Nooks. And she's like, you got to sell all of this. You don't want these. And she's like, and I just didn't get it of like, I was kind of used to the idea of like, well, you might want that later.
Yeah.
For everything though. And she's like, no, like you want to sell it. You need the bells. You got to buy stuff. You got to pay things off. Like, and I was like, oh, all right. And she kind of showed me the ropes. So yeah, I enjoyed the GameCube. I spent more time with it when it was, old and no longer popular, but I liked it a lot.
Okay. 3 GameCube fans here. I like that. Good.
God bless you, GameCube.
God bless you, GameCube.
Oh yeah, and we played 1,000 Year Door, the remake. That was the first time I got to play it. And we talked about it a lot on Punching Up. I liked it. See, it overstays its welcome, but I did like it.
Yeah, you and me were kind of in the same boat of that game. Great game.
Just the fucking wrestling level, dude.
Yeah, it was too much. For sure.
What are you telling me that you're actually going to have me do fucking 20 fights here? Like, are you fucking serious?
Yeah,
like
too much.
It was absurd.
Trim the fat.
And the backtracking, it's a lot. It's a lot. But it's good. It's not a bad game.
Nope.
It's just like you're ready for it to be over at a certain point.
All right. Nintendo DS released on November 21st, 2004 for $149. I put the DS Lite on here as well. DS Lite came out June 11th, 2006 for $129. That is personally when I bought a DS. My friends had DS, or like a couple of my friends had DS, and I got to borrow theirs to play stuff I wanted. But when the Lite came out, that was a big deal. Lots of launch titles on here, but of course Mario 64 is the one that stands out to me. Colin, what's the deal with you and the original DS?
I didn't have a DS at launch. So I was in college at this point, and I was writing for IGN. And so I was doing a lot of PS2 projects and some GameCube stuff, and some Xbox stuff as well. That's why I bought an Xbox to begin with, is to be able to play some stuff on there and make some money. But I was on my own. So what's funny is that when I started making money, and when I had like a job for the first time in 10th grade, and you start making, hundreds of dollars or whatever, and you like can buy and go out, you buy what you want, kind of go out or whatever, but you don't have to worry about the necessities of life. Obviously, that kind of stuff catches up with you when you're out on your own. And I'm not saying my parents like were horrible to me. My dad would give me $100 a month when I was in college, and I appreciated that a great deal. Like that's like much more than I could have asked for. But otherwise, I took money out to pay for my room and board and all the rest, and I had to work. And I worked as a landscaper for 5 years, and which was a great job. I actually enjoyed it, and I still enjoy yard work and like working in the yard, like working on plants and all that for the same reason. And I was a freelancer at IGN, but the money was kind of being eaten up by a lot of different things at that point, including just like an enormous amount of weed and an enormous amount of alcohol and food. I mean, basically that was like, I had no money for anything else. And I said before, I didn't even have $1,000 to my name until I was like, where I was able to save $1,000 until I was probably like 21 or 22. I just like, money burned a hole in my pocket. Not really. It's just like, I made money and I'm going to spend it. I wasn't like a conspicuous consumer. It was just like, I don't, so anyway, I say all of that to say that I basically was playing a lot of stuff. There were like games where I went out and bought them, but I was getting a lot of stuff for free. And usually I was just trying to get my games by writing the guides for them. Then I would translate that money into other stuff. So there was no real necessity for me to have a Nintendo DS. I was happy with the Game Boy Advance. Like I was still buying Game Boy Advance games. Like you put Final Fantasy VI on here. Like Final Fantasy VI came out long after the DS came out, and it came to Game Boy Advance. Yeah. So I was like still kind of like happy with the Game Boy Advance. I think I was even a little bitter that they were moving on to DS. I didn't realize how good the DS was. I was like,
It was great.
I'm like, they're kind of promising to kind of still support the GBA. I don't really want this other thing. None of the launch games really spoke to me. Like I'm not a big Mario 64 guy, so like having like a port of it is not exciting to me.
It wasn't good enough for me to even buy one. The launch, in my opinion. So,
but here's what happened. I had jury duty, and I knew this guy who went to Harvard, who I was friends with, Luis. He was from Argentina, I want to say. And we had met on IGN, like he was like a forum moderator or something. And at the time I was a freelancer and I was an intern for a while. So like we were kind of at the same level and we became friendly. And he was like over my place and I was like, I have jury duty or whatever. And he's like, oh, you should like borrow this. Cause like the thought was like, I'm not going to get picked and I'm just going to sit there for a day or whatever. And he lent me his DS. And I don't even remember what game it was. But I was like messing around with it and then I ended up getting chosen. And then I ended up being the foreman of the jury. And so I didn't get like as much time with it as I wanted to, but it was the first time I messed with it for, hours or whatever. And I was like, this is dope.
Yeah.
And I went out and bought one and opened myself up to being able to write content for it for IGN, of course. But The stuff that I really love on DS is kind of the offbeat shit that I would not really play anywhere else. There are of course great straight up games like New Super Mario Brothers. Like that was, dude, I fucking loved that game. I was like, this is awesome. I absolutely adored it. But you know what I really loved was like Phoenix Wright.
Yeah.
And
I didn't even write that down. Yeah.
Professor Layton, which you do have here.
Yep.
Like those two series alone and like the iterations of those. So I think you had like 3 Phoenix Wright games, maybe 3 or 4 Layton games. Like those alone are really massive presences, or I should say that a little more cleanly, cast a massive presence on the machine for me.
Yeah.
It opened the DS is a machine that opened my mind to games that I would have never played. And that translated to console, but it also translated later to PSP and Vita. Like I probably would have never played Danganronpa or something like that. That feels so at home on a handheld and are unique and bite-sized, a little more bite-sized and a little more containable. Of course, Pokemon was still a big part of my life at this point. And those were big too. I love how you have Chinatown Wars in here because I remember that being such a big deal. And then it was kind of like a letdown. Like it felt like DS is getting an exclusive, like real Grand Theft Auto game. And then it was not really very good. Yeah. And what did we really expect? It's on this machine. You had the 3 Castlevania games, which were excellent. And I think when the games really started to merge more with what Symphony of the Night was, because if you go back and play Circle of the Moon, it's a very primitive game. It's like a step back from Symphony of the Night.
Yeah,
those games felt like steps forward. The Final Fantasy 3 and 4 remakes were big. I'm not crazy about them. One of the things that I love, well, that was the first time we ever got Final Fantasy 3 in the West, so that was my first experience with it, and I wrote the strategy guide at IGN for it. I wrote the strategy guide for 4 as well. I don't like the chibi like 3D. It looks cheap to me. It doesn't carry the gravitas. It looks like a mana game. Like it doesn't carry the gravitas. Like this is Final Fantasy. It's not. This is not the way it looks. What I loved about 4 though was it was, I believe, the first time we got the true difficulty level of the game.
Yeah,
because they dumbed the game down when they released it on SNES, and there were some ports, but like the PS1 port, the Game Boy Advance port, but I remember it was really hard. I remember, and it felt so foreign from that perspective.
Yeah, it was.
The Zelda games, I never played Spirit Tracks. Phantom Hourglass was the first one, right?
Yes.
I was so excited about it that I like basically was like, oh, a Zelda game for DS, like, and just like tuned out. And then I bought it, and I literally was like, you have to play it with the stylus. And that was the end of that. And I never played it another second of it. So I was like, I can't do that. That's fucking insane. I'm not playing it with the stylus. You have the Dragon Quest 4, 5, and 6. Those were huge as well. I owned all 3 of those. For people that don't know, 5 and 6 were big deals because those were the first time those were released in the West. And I still think the only time they've ever been released in the West. They were Super Famicom games. The story goes that the games were so big that the Japanese text is so tight by a character that to translate it would have made the cartridge like insane, like the biggest cartridge available. And they were like, we can't make any money doing this. So they just never brought them over. So those were huge. I remember being so excited to play those. And I did play those. And you had something else in here I wanted to touch on as well. No, I guess that's it. We already talked about. Oh, Chrono Trigger. That's the best port of the game. That's the best way to play the game.
Yep.
Still to this day is that DS port, because that PS1 port is awful, like the worst.
Yeah, it's really bad.
And this SNES version is just inaccessible. But dude, shout out. And again, I do want to give a special shout out to Professor Layton and Phoenix Wright. Those 2 series. Layton still never released on PlayStation, which pisses me off.
Still never made it.
The music.
The music in those games is so good. God. The atmosphere, top tier.
I'll
absolutely.
Tell you, man. And Mike, did you ever play Phoenix Wright? I feel like you would like Phoenix Wright.
No, I've watched Game Grumps play it. I don't love like detective type stuff. So
yeah, it's like a
I like visual novels
with like light puzzle solving, you know.
But yeah, and that's the part I don't really like as much, right? Like when I'm doing visual novels, it's like I'm primarily playing either like historical romance visual novels. Those are my favorite. Or I really did enjoy Emio, the Smiling Man. Like that was really cool. I didn't know how much I'd like it. Part of why I enjoyed it though is that there's kind of guardrails for the detective stuff. Like they won't let you leave if you're missing a clue. Stuff like that. That kind of just made it a little stress-free for me.
Yeah, understood.
Yeah, got it. But yeah, like you, I love the DS. Fucking amazing, amazing library of games.
And you said, like you said, the original DS is a very clumsy machine.
Yes.
The redesign is
the light. Yeah, it's super elegant. Really
I had the white
nice
one with like the little clear kind of coating on it.
Yep.
And it just snapped, just like the clamshell. Like it was
very
wanted
like
to be
Apple.
Closed.
It was very Apple-esque at the time.
Yeah, definitely.
Very clean. Micah, any more DS memories you'd like to share?
I knew one person with a DS, and he'd come to but just a different kid. But he had the Guitar Hero adapter.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and so he'd bring that
buttons,
to school sometimes.
Right? Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
That was the only time I ever played a DS because he would bring that to school and let us mess around with it. I do have a couple like DS games that I played on my 3DS, like Dragon Ball Z Attack of the Saiyans is still one of my all-time favorite JRPGs. I lament forever that every Dragon Ball Z game after that's been a fighting game and not a cute little JRPG. Like, for the love of Christ, how many fucking fighting games do we need? How many? Like, it's dog shit. But that game's incredible. I recommend it whether you like Dragon Ball or not. It's just an amazing game. And the Dragon Ball Origins games were cool too. And like I had a couple of random things. Like I think Gardening Mama was a DS game and not a 3DS.
Oh, there's Cooking Mama at least though. You like Cooking Mama?
Oh, for sure. The older Cooking Mamas. I love Cooking Mama. Oh my God, I love Cooking Mama. They botched that fucking amazing franchise. Really fun. Destroyed. Forever ruined. But no, I've actually, aside from that one kid who would bring it to school, I've never played a DS otherwise.
Okay.
And I wanted one so bad. Nintendogs, dude.
Nintendogs.
Imagine
you're right. Yeah.
Me seeing those commercials and I'm like, Nintendogs and cats? But we absolutely did not have money for that. It was one of those things that was like, yeah, I'm never going to own this. Wanted one, never got it. So shout out to Derek though for bringing that to school with the Guitar Hero thing. That was quite
shout
fun.
out Derek.
There was that whole corner of DS2, like you're saying, like the stuff that I never even messed with the Nintendogs, which was a huge thing, like in the Brain Age stuff.
Brain Age, that's what I forgot, dude. Yeah, like really I've got Brain Age later when I got a 3DS. The DS library not only was huge, but there were so many cheap games. And so I would go to GameStop and browse the DS titles and like just get random cheap shit like Brain Age or like Bejeweled. And it was just fun to add to my collection on the cheap. But oh my God, Brain Age was one that's like, I remember seeing those commercials and just being like, I want to play this so bad. And then when I actually got it, it was quite fun. I don't know if it lived up to the hype that I held for it. Just because when you're a kid and you want something that you know you're not going to get, it's like, there's nothing that could compare to it.
Greatest thing ever.
And then as an adult trying to like relive that magic, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I don't know if Brain Age lived up to the hype that I set for it.
I just want to give a shout out real quick to The World Ends With You. I think that's one of the finest DS games around, an incredible RPG that makes really good use of the hardware with the dual screens and having two combat encounters going on at the same time. Incredible game. Definitely the way to play that game. It got ports later on for like Switch and stuff, but it's all about the dual screens for that game. So shout out. And I regret just having foresight and buying Dragon Quest 4, 5, and 6. I should have bought those, but I just slept on them. And now they're extremely expensive games. So good old Dragon Quest. All right, we got two more console things we're going to cover. We're getting to near the end of Colin's love for Nintendo. This might be the end, actually.
This was the end for me.
Yeah, the Wii Launched on November 19th, 2006 for $249. Of course, the launch game, there's quite a few launch games, but of course the most famous ones are probably Twilight Princess and Wii Sports, and maybe Red Steel. I'd say it was a pretty high profile
Red Steel,
one.
Yeah, Red Steel, I remember, it's funny, man, because that game sounded like, before the Wii came out and we didn't really know like how lame it was going to be, it was like, you can like slash the sword.
Yeah.
Like, and I remember Red Steel being that game where you had like the gun and the sword, right? And so you like did, but it ended up being like, whatever.
Everyone called you Gaijin in it. Gaijin!
Right.
I remember that. Notable games though. Twilight Princess, Skyward Sword, Mario Galaxy 1 and 2, Chef's Kiss, two incredible games.
Absolutely.
Smash Bros. Brawl, Xenoblade Chronicles, Metroid Prime 3 Corruption, and Metroid Prime Trilogy, Wii Sports Resort, Donkey Kong Returns, Trauma Center, New Blood, Second Opinion, and Team. I had Second Opinion. That game was awesome. New Super Mario Brothers Wii, Red Steel 1 and 2, WarioWare Smooth Moves, really fun game, dude. Zack and Wiki Quest for Barbarossa's Treasure. I loved this game. I had a copy of it and my case got fucked up. I think something got spilled on it.
Oh, bummer.
And just ruined.
It's I have it too. It's because that was still very much in the era when it was a very early Wii game. So it's still when I was kind of on board.
It was such a cool game. I love that game. No More Heroes. Of course, the first one. Mad World, which is a platinum game. Maybe their first game, I think.
Yeah, I think it's
Mario Kart, Wii, Beatles Rock Band I saw in here. I was like, oh yeah, Rock Band was around then.
Yeah, it probably did very well on Wii.
Of course, for the end, for Colin, Mega Man 9 and 10.
Yeah, 9 specifically is the big one because it was only on Wii at the beginning. But when 10 came out, it was on everything. So that was a huge, because it was like a Wii exclusive. And it was perfect on the Wii with the Wiimote. It was perfect.
Yeah.
Absolutely perfect in every way.
Colin, what happened?
It's just not fun at this point. Like the
motion.
Yeah, but the motion is one thing. You were talking about Zack and Wiki. Like, I didn't mind playing that. I didn't mind playing Galaxy's motions, or you're just kind of waggling or whatever. I loved I loved a lot of the weird shit that was happening early on. Mike and I were talking recently. Like, I loved the game Endless Ocean. It felt like so strange, and so it wasn't even the motion. It was just that they were. How do I put this? It's like the N64 and the GameCube, I think, succeeded for me. And by the way, I'm talking from my own perspective. I'm not talking about the perspective of the consumer. It's like, this fits. This is good. This is the weird supplement to my gaming, plate. And I am assuming, based on the sales of those consoles, that was kind of the case for a lot of people. And I felt like with the Wii, they started to try, or they did veer back into like, all right, we're going for it again. Mm-hmm. And there's going to be weird shit, but there's going to be a lot of like shit. And we're just going to like, this is where the term, like, I didn't even know what the term shovelware meant until, which is an old PC term, but I never even really knew what that meant until the Wii. And then it's like, I know exactly what you mean. And it just seemed, it was their whole blue ocean thing that they were very transparent about.
Yeah.
And what I realized, and this is where I was talking about, it's not from the consumer's perspective, but from my perspective, sometimes you're like, I was amongst the biggest Nintendo consumers, like in the top percentiles of Nintendo consumers for many years. And then they spread the field, it worked, and they didn't really need me anymore. And that's kind of the thing that happened. I don't think I realized that at the time, but in hindsight, it's like, yeah, they just kind of don't need people like you anymore. And I just felt like the PS3 and the 360 were just so much better that they should have embraced more of the weirdness instead of kind of buckling and doing a half thing. Like, you were talking about the motion. It's almost like they didn't really believe in it at some point.
They had to bring out the Wii Motion Plus. Right, games, and
with Wii Sports Resort and all this different stuff, which was cool. And like, there were always games that were on the Wii that I was like, that's dope. I really like that. I remember when Punch Out came, and I was like, this is super cool. Galaxy, which was 2007, but even Galaxy 2, which was later, it's like, yeah, like, this is awesome. And I love the Galaxy games. That's Mario 3D in its primest, its most premier form, in my opinion. So for me as a personal Nintendo consumer, I just felt kind of disengaged by it. And I also think, that like the quality wasn't really there anymore either for a lot of games. And there was cool stuff, but I honestly, I feel like this about a lot of things is I just think it's kind of lame to do the same shit over and 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 over. Like that's what they do. And I know sometimes they buck the trend and something's very fresh and revolutionary with an old name or whatever. But it's like one of the things I really love about PlayStation is that they do just say like, all right, that's it. And like, we're not making Sly Cooper anymore. Even when things go away, like God of War went away for a little while. Games take so long to make now that they go away just by nature of how long they take.
Yeah.
Uncharted has been gone for 10 years. I just feel like that makes me hungry for Uncharted. That makes me, with the exception of Gran Turismo or MLB The Show or something, it's like they kind of, things breathe and they really do die. And then you kind of have this glimmering hope that like maybe it'll come back at some point. But when I look back at Nintendo, it's like they have so few new IP that like I'm pretty sure Splatoon is the only thing of any consequence they've made since I stopped playing. That would be new. And I think that like that doesn't seem to matter to a lot of people, but for me it kind of does. It's fun, and I think the proof's in the pudding with Pokemon. I was a big Pokemon fan, but there came a point 12 years or so into it. I guess it was when Platinum, came out maybe or something, where I was like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And still, dude, that was closer to the Pokemon's beginning than we are now from that point. And it is still the same.
Yeah.
And to me, I'm just Pokemon's like, I don't know, dude. I'm just not into it. But I think the Wii, I've told the story many times. I couldn't find one at launch. I ended up getting one from a friend who bought it from a friend at the Nintendo employee store for me in Washington. And Metroid Prime, it was around the time Metroid Prime 3 came out, which I thought was awesome. And there are a lot of great games on it. It's different. It's when Nintendo started to change into something that I just that I didn't recognize anymore. And it continued with the 3DS, and which I was like, whatever, I don't care about the 3DS. And then we are where we are today, where I'm just totally detached from the brand. Although, just to reiterate, they don't need me. If they kept catering to people like me, none of this would have happened. So I'm not saying they made the wrong choice, but right. I felt at some point I was like, this is incredibly alienating. Like, there's nothing on this thing. I don't know what you're doing. What you're like, even when Skyward Sword was like incredibly, what was good? I like Brawl a lot. I think Brawl is actually underrated because a lot of people were like, they still love Melee and all that kind of shit. And Brawl's kind of, but I loved Subspace Emissary and all that weird shit they were trying to do.
That was
cool.
fun. Yeah.
But whatever. I'll always have a soft spot for Nintendo, but this is where it stops for me.
Micah, what about you? Any Wii memories you want to share?
I did enjoy Wii Sports, obviously very late to playing the Wii, but I really liked Wii Sports. Like, fucking, I'll bowl all day.
Yeah.
Oh, it was...
Love bowling.
Now, like, motion controls overstayed their welcome at a certain point for me. Definitely by the Wii U, I was like, I don't want it. I don't want this. I don't want motion controls anymore. But at the time, all right, Wii bowling and shit, I was like, this is incredible technology. Look how it works. And just playing random shit. There was a lot of shovelware on it, but man, it's like some of those random games. The Yogi Bear movie game, top tier.
Damn.
Top tier. I mean, getting high and playing that, fantastic.
Yeah.
10 out of 10 experience. Kirby's Epic Yarn, very cute.
Yeah.
Great little Kirby game. Hello Kitty Seasons, I think it was called, is the game that got me into Game Grumps specifically, because I had to be very judicious with spending. And like we had, GameFly for renting games back then, but sometimes it was hard to get things. And I really wanted Hello Kitty Seasons, but I didn't know if it was going to be good. So I went on YouTube, and the only people who had played it was the Game Grumps.
Oh.
And I'd never heard of them before. And I click on it, and of course they're shitting on the game the whole time. I still got it. It's fantastic. And that's what made me a Game Grumps fan, because I'm like, oh my God, these guys are hysterical. What is this?
Yep.
So the Wii has a soft spot for me. Do I want to fire up a Wii and play some Wii Sports? Not really. Like, do I want to go back to it? No. Like when games would make you hold the Wiimote sideways was always funny. It's like, Mad World was cool to check out. A bad idea to play high. Horrible idea.
Yeah.
But no, the thing about the Wii is that the setup, you got the motion sensor thing you got to put on the top of the TV. It was just annoying.
Yeah, it is.
But you get a homebrew Wii and a hard drive full of games. I mean, it was a good time. Mario Kart.
Yeah.
Awesome. So it's like I liked the Wii a lot. I had a lot of fun with it. However, it was our companion to the 360 at that time. Yeah. So it's like that's what we played the most on, and that's what we were playing like our serious games on. And then the Wii was like, you guys want to play some party games?
Yeah.
And that's what it was. It felt like that's what it was for. And your Kirby game here and there, and your random Hello Kitty game, but it's not something that I remember fondly enough to be like, I'm gonna get a Wii and fire that up. Like just the thought of doing that, I'm like, I just don't even want to get started with it.
One aspect of the Wii that I think is incredible, and Nintendo still hasn't done nearly as well, is the Virtual Console.
Definitely
was amazing, very exciting time to see what they'd throw on there, especially for people like me and Colin.
Oh, dude,
getting a lot of
I spent so much money, hundreds and hundreds of dollars. But that's the problem, is that it's all locked to that console. It was very half baked.
It was on. I think you could play it with Wii U. Maybe you couldn't, because Wii U had a Virtual Console as well. I can't remember off the top of my head.
But I'm saying, like, there was no account system.
Yeah. They didn't get that until Switch.
Right. So it's like, that was not.
That's classic Nintendo being dumbasses. Yeah.
It's just insane that they did that. Like I didn't care. Like I was just like, I'll worry about that later. And I just bought so much shit on there, and I still have my Wii, but it's like, it sucks that I don't think there's anything you can really do about it. It's like they're so. But now they have the subscription and all that shit's on there, so it's not a big deal. But you're right. I used to get so excited about the press releases they'd release every week about like because it was usually 2 games. Yep. And it was exciting to see what they were going to pull out of their ass, and I bought a lot of it. So,
oh yeah, same. All right, final thing we're going to talk about here, Mike. I know this is a big one for you. Nintendo 3DS launched March 27th, 2011 for $249. Got a price drop in August to $169.99. I definitely remember this because no one was fucking buying them, and they panicked. Micah, talk to me. The 3DS, your beloved 3DS. I have a list of games here, Micah, and I did write your beloved 7th Dragon 3 code VFD. Talk to me.
I ended up buying the 3DS a couple of years late. I think I got mine in 2014, and I bought it officially refurbished from Nintendo. I was able to get the pink one. It was once again something that when it was released, man, I really wanted one. And I had no idea that they weren't doing well. It was something that I was like, oh my God, I'd buy 10 of these if I could. Because I just was seeing all the things coming out for it, and I really wanted one. So I ended up buying one late. Of course, I loved Animal Crossing New Leaf. I would keep the 3DS like on my nightstand because I would play Animal Crossing as soon as I woke up. Like before social media had really, gotten its hooks in. It's like that was what I wake up and I would immediately turn it on, go collect my fruits, collect my bells, and then I'd get my day started. I loved Animal Crossing on that. 7th Dragon 3, still like my all-time favorite 3DS game. The 3DS is what got me into Fire Emblem with Fire Emblem Awakening. And then later I would play Fire Emblem Echoes, which was a remake of a previous game. It's so good. It's so good. No, 3DS had a lot on it that I really enjoyed. Cooking Mama, again, was just so fun. I just loved it. The 3DS had, I mean, I'll just say like a lot of like girly games on it. And I enjoyed that, you know? Like Cooking Mama was like, it was fun and girly and cute. And maybe it didn't do well because of that, but it's something that I really miss kind of seeing, you know, like the Nintendogs type stuff. You still see kids games, but you still see your Barbie games, but it's like I kind of miss that too. Feeling like, you know, games for girls type thing, because some of them were just adorable and fun to play even as an adult. But the 3DS is when I started getting some of those DS games I mentioned earlier, because it's like now I could play that library. So and it like buying those games used was such a gamble sometimes. Like GameStop sent me one time, the back of it was like covered in chocolate, but it was the only copy they had. So I like dutifully cleaned it off and it worked just fine. But it's like, I can't believe you guys sent me this shit. But the 3DS is something I spent so much fucking time with. And recently, somewhat recently, I brought the 3DS out again. I got heavily into Story of Seasons Trio of Towns last Christmas. I played Ocarina of Time on there. It's been cool to go back to it and, you know, kind of experience some of those games I missed out on. Because again, at that point, I was in college and you just had to be really judicious with your spending. So it's like I worked part-time, but I didn't have much money. There were games I rented from GameFly when I could, but it was just one of those things of like I definitely couldn't just get whatever I wanted for it. And there are games I've been kind of adding to the collection. I got Avalon Code this year, which I have not played yet, but that was one of my kind of white whale games I was searching for. It's been fun to kind of go back and search for some hidden gems on the 3DS. And like I ended up getting Tales of the Abyss as well. I found a copy of that at GameStop. So I'm slowly still adding to that collection because I really, really loved the 3DS. It's a console I spent a ton of time playing. And there are still games for me to get to on there. Fire Emblem Conquest. It's a Conquest.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has Birthright or is it Fire Emblem Fates, and there's Birthright or Conquest.
That's games. Probably it. Yeah, I think I wrote that down wrong.
I bought one of those finally. I was literally paralyzed by the choice for years of which one to play. And I finally just pulled the trigger on it last year. I was like, we're getting Conquest. And maybe we'll get to that this holiday break. I love the 3DS.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Talking to you guys this afternoon, though, I'm heavily considering getting like a DS Lite for some of these Game Boy games I want to play.
I'm on the hunt for a DS Lite, like a nice one.
Because I'm just like, bro, yeah, like my fucking Game Boy, she's ailing. Yeah. The battery, I'm a little afraid to play it plugged in constantly. I'm like, this battery's gonna fucking Capri Sun out and just explode in my hands. So
you can get an analog.
That's like the PSP. The old PSP batteries all did that.
Well, dude, okay, so like the Vita is in this office with me, and periodically I just open the case just to make sure it's not slowly expanding, because I'm like, I don't want that to happen in here. But you got to check your old electronics every now and then to make sure they're not puffing up like Capri Sun. But it's like, there's things that I hope they'll eventually add to NSO, but that I also don't hold out a lot of hope for. And I say, maybe I should start trying to pick up some of these Game Boy titles. Even random things like the Lego Lord of the Rings game is becoming a difficult one to find. And that was also on Game Boy. Like there's just some random things like that are becoming a little hard to find. They're not licensed anymore, so you can't buy it like anywhere. So there's some random shit on there that I'm like, what's the easiest way to play this? And a DS would be the easiest way if I could get one.
Yeah. Some notable games: Ocarina of Time 3D, Majora's Mask 3D, and Link Between Worlds, Super Mario 3D Land, Pokemon X, Y, Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire, Sun, Moon, Ultra versions as well for those. Fire Emblem Awakening, Fates, Conquest, Birthright, Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, Luigi's Mansion 2, Dragon Quest 7 and 8, Animal Crossing New Leaf, Tomodachi Life, Bravely Default, and Second Layer, Kid Icarus Uprising, Metroid Samus Returns, Radiant Historia, Shin Megami Tensei 4, Shovel Knight, Theater Rhythm, Final Fantasy, 7th Dragon, 3 Code, or is it 3 Code, VFD, Mario and Luigi's Bowser Inside Story. Pretty good fucking library right there.
I forgot Link Between Worlds. I played that as well recently. That was another really good little game. Made me cry.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So, Colin, you don't really have any time on with a lot of these games then, right?
No, I bought a 3DS used from a person I worked with at IGN. I guess maybe when there was a revision out or something, or just some sort of special edition he wanted. So I bought it. It was in great shape, but I've only ever played... I played the Mario Golf game on it. I played what else? Oh, the Link Between Worlds, which I was like, I did get through it, but I was like, I'm not really as into it as a lot of other people are. It is cool. It is very haunting in that it takes place on like the same map.
Yeah,
you know? And like you just know it because you've played the game before.
Yep,
which is cool. And I think that's probably about it.
Okay,
maybe a couple other things, but I honestly thought the 3DS was kind of lame. But at that point, obviously this is what I was saying, is like, it was a huge thing. Like everyone loved it. So it just wasn't for me anymore. And this was very much during the Vita era where it was like, I was super into Vita. So yeah, I had no draw towards the 3DS, but I have very vivid memories of playing Link Between Worlds, specifically over a Christmas break, at my dad's house on Long Island. And, to the detriment of everything. Like I didn't want to go anywhere. I was just like trying to get through it to see like what it was all about. And then at the end I was like, no, it was
fine. Shout out to the 3D of the 3DS. Actually really cool technology. Really cool. I know a lot of people aren't in 3D, but I think it works really well.
Oh really? I remember everyone just always had it off.
Dude, I kept it shut off. Cause something like Kirby Triple Deluxe, which I loved. Oh my God, amazing Kirby game. But I was like, I just slide that right off. I would always slide it up just to see it. It'd be like, oh, that looks cool. And just like immediately shut it off.
Not all games are created equal in the 3D, but some of them, like 3D Land, are like essential in 3D. I think they're just so much better. I remember Ocarina of Time looked pretty cool in 3D as well. So really interesting technology though. But that was the end of the DS line. Then we got the Wii U, which was awful hardware, cool games. And the Switch and Switch 2. But Colin, you don't have any experience really with those at all. So
no, Switch I played a few things on, but that was I played the first Zelda, Mario Odyssey. I played Cuphead on Switch. That was probably the last game I bought on Switch.
There you go.
Yeah, that's basically it.
Cool. Yeah, I just thought that'd be fun to go down a little trip down memory lane with Colin and stuff and Micah about past Nintendo stuff. Of course, Colin was a big Nintendo fan back in the day. So, Colin, thank you for joining us for your first ever appearance on Punching Up.
I'm sure everyone loved it. Thank you for having me. It's good. Nintendo will. Oh, it's funny, man, because everyone looks at me as a PlayStation fanboy, which is fine. I've been playing on PlayStation since the mid '90s, so I love PlayStation, and I'd say I love PlayStation more than I probably love Nintendo. Mm-hmm. But there was a time where Nintendo was like everything to me, and the NES will always be my favorite console, forever.
There you go. Excellent. And Micah, thank you once again for joining us. Appreciate it. Love hearing your experiences as well. Good stuff. But yeah, we're out of here, everybody. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening. Hope you have a good holiday break, everybody. I forgot when this goes live again.
Probably Merry Christmas.
Weeks. Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to all.
Merry Christmas to all. Yes. Have a good one, everybody. We'll see you next episode. Take care and goodbye.
Bye.
Punching Up, a Nintendo podcast, is a product of Last Stand Media and Colin's Last Stand LLC and is proudly recorded in the USA. The show is written and hosted by me, Bradley Ellis. My co-hosts are Gene Park and Micah Moriarty. The show is edited and produced by Dustin Furman. All of Last Stand's theme music is by Ramon Narvaez. Punching Up, along with the rest of Last Stand's media shows, are fan-funded on Patreon at patreon.com/laststandmedia. The following names are at the producer level on Patreon, our highest tier, and we're grateful for your kind contributions and generosity to our independent endeavor. Thank you.